Chapter 158. Danger strikes as Mo Yan's voice fell. Lu Mu Yan raised her head and saw rolls upon rolls of golden vines rushing towards them like tides and mighty waves. What? How come there's so many popping out again? Mui stared at the sight in front of him, stunned. Yi Qinghan's expression was also exceptionally ugly. These human-eating blood thorn vines are being controlled. What's controlling it? Shi Feng asked in befuddlement as he waved the huge axe, made from fire elemental energy condensation. He and Mu Yi, one was an alchemist, one was a smith, and they didn't go out a lot throughout the year, so they didn't know much about demonic plants. The shriek just now was the voice of the human-eating blood thorn vine king. These golden vines should be its branches. Yi Qinghan explained. Then how can we break through? Mu Yi returned to his senses, and immediately poured out a pill that replenished elemental energy, then used his fire snake against the golden vines that were rapidly extending in front of him. Yi Qinghan's eyes were solemn, and his tone was helpless. We must find the place where the human-eating blood thorn vine king is, and kill it to get out of the trap. Otherwise these blood thorn vines will be like weeds, unable to be burnt completely. At this time, the few people formed a small circle, constantly fighting against the golden vines, that were as if they were bearing fangs and brandishing claws. Be careful not to get pierced by the thorns on the vines. Otherwise your body will be paralyzed for a period of time. Although it's only a few breaths, but after losing your combat ability, you'll become their food. What Yi Qinghan comprehended wasn't the fire attribute elemental energy, so he could only caution everyone while wielding his longsword without giving up, keeping the mentality that however many he could cut was how many that counted. Mobilizing the fire element condensation to battle took a lot of elemental energy and physical strength. Shi Feng and the others continued to take pills as sweat covered their foreheads, and they began to struggle. Lu Muyan's face slightly sunk. Her two hands kept pinching seals, and not long after, a fiery red light cover appeared, enveloping the few people and enclosing them within. A wave of heat hit the surrounding space, and fires fell from the sky, all smashing against the golden vines and tendrils that were attempting to attack the flame shield. Squeak! Several shrill shrieks came from within the depths of the vines covered in flames. The golden vines that hadn't been burnt to ashes retreated one after another, hovering not far away, swaying the vines to express indignation. On the narrow path, Lu Mu Yan and the others formed a stalemate with the golden-colored vines. The few people were trapped in a small circle by the vines from all directions, and even if they wanted to escape, they couldn't rush out. Lu Mu Yan took out a few bottles of spiritual energy replenishing pills, and threw them to the others. Quickly replenish your elemental energy. Their new wave of attack is coming soon. After she finished speaking, she picked up a porcelain bottle, and poured pills ceaselessly into her mouth. The spiritual energy replenishing pills melted the moment they entered her mouth, and the spiritual energy flowed through the meridians in her entire body to replenish her dantian. But this wasn't a good way to continue, even if she had a lot of spiritual energy replenishing pills, but it wouldn't be able to stand such usage. These golden-colored vines were simply an endless cycle of dying then returning. Furthermore, their elemental energy could be replenished with pills, but it was difficult for their physical body to keep up. Suddenly, a few sturdy human-eating blood thorn vines drilled out from beneath Yi Qinghan and Yunlan's foot, swiftly entangled their feet, then dragged them down. Be careful underground. Mo Yan and Bing Jia's voice echoed in Lu Mu Yan's sea of consciousness at the same time. Lu Mu Yan's eyes grew cold. Her mental energy was dormant, so she couldn't detect the fluctuations underground at all. Not to mention the human-eating blood thorn vine was exceptionally skilled in concealing its aura. Even when Mo Yan and Bing Ji noticed and reminded everyone, they were also a step too late. Yi Qinghan and Yunlan were already dragged into the ground by the vines that had suddenly emerged and wrapped around their foot. Qinghan Yunlan. Shocked, Mui quickly mobilized the fire snake to burn the thick vines. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, but a scene that made them all slightly despair occurred. The condensed fire elemental energy burning on the few vines that emitted a dark golden light were completely useless. They could only helplessly watch the two being dragged away and disappear. Lu Muyin furrowed her brows. It seemed that these thick dark golden vines were the main force. She mobilized the spiritual energy of her entire body, pinched seals and let out a soft yell. Rise! A giant lifelike fire dragon rose from behind her and roared into the air, then dived into the ground where Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan just disappeared from. Will they be all right? Mui used his mental energy to probe underground, but found nothing. Ling Fei Yang knitted his brows tightly. There's no life-threatening concerns for now, but that human-eating blood thorn vine demonic plant already bore intelligence, so it must be difficult to deal with. That demonic plant could see that what Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan comprehended wasn't the fire attribute elemental energy law, so they weren't a big threat to it. But they were the easiest to catch, so it snuck from underground to attack, and as expected it succeeded. Lu Muyen took out 2 more bottles of pills and kept pouring them into her mouth. Then her eyes sharpened, and she enhanced the light cover with fire elemental energy again. The golden-colored vines that were waving about and slapping, as if they were bearing fangs and brandishing claws, were completely blocked outside the light enclosure. But the golden-colored vines weren't giving up as they continued to slap, tentatively attempting to pierce the flame cover. The 3 of them saw Lu Muyan's complexion start to turn pale, and a layer of dense sweat rose on her nose. They also knew that she couldn't maintain the flame cover for long, so after quickly consuming the spiritual energy replenishing pills, they mobilized their fire elemental energy to help support the light cover together. A faint despair was also born unconsciously in their hearts. Would they perish here today? However, all of them were determined and tenacious. They quickly tossed that kind of despair behind them. No one could tell the result until the very last moment. In order to survive, they couldn't lose their confidence. Lu Muyen saw that the 3 people's condensed fire elemental energy was just enough to maintain the functioning of the fire light cover. She looked deeply in the direction where the 2 had been dragged away and said, "You all hold on for a moment. I'll come back as soon as possible." After speaking, she didn't wait for anyone to answer either. She used her spiritual energy to mobilize 2 flying swords, placing them in front of her, and drilled into the ground where the 2 people were dragged away. The flying swords kept spinning, stirring up the surrounding soil as she chased in the direction of the fire Aragon's aura. She had seen the introduction of the blood thorn vine on the Tianling continent's demonic beast and demonic plants record. She found that this type of blood thorn vine's habits were almost the same as the blood thorn vines in the immortal cultivation world, so she could use the same method to deal with it. She once obtained a recipe for brewing blood sac wine in the inheritance of the heavenly great alchemist, so she had searched for the human-eating blood thorn vine in the spiritual world for ages. Ultimately, hard work didn't let down those who tried, and she found a king, then used a means to suppress it and made it surrender. At this time, although her cultivation base wasn't as high as the human-eating blood thorn vine, but she had some confidence in dealing with it. After all, her blood sac wine was still waiting for the blood thorn sac of this human-eating blood thorn vine king to be put in the pot. No matter how difficult it was, even if she had to use her all and her trump cards, she would definitely defeat it. Of course, not wanting Yi Qinghan and the others to die here was an important reason and determination for why she didn't want to and couldn't give up. Squeak! The harsh, high-pitched screams echoed continuously. Lu Muyan's heart tightened, then she sped up going deeper underground. Not good. Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan were entangled and were about to approach the main body of the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Danger. Translated product by Mayar Come True. Chapter 159. Arrange Array's Antrap. When Lu Muyen heard that excited call, her heart tightened. She mobilized her spiritual energy to gather into her longswords, quickly chasing the fire dragon. After going a further few hundred meters deeper underground, the fire dragon shifted its direction, and Lu Muyen followed closely behind. After a while, the fire dragon chased upwards with a swish. It seems like the human-eating blood thorn vine king is right up there, Bingji said while looking at the place not far away. Lu Muyen had a deep chill in her eyes. If this demon vine dared to touch Yi Qing Han and Yun Lan, then she wouldn't want its blood thorn sac anymore. Only by burning it could she relieve her hatred. However, she didn't chase in the direction of the fire dragon again, but instead ceaselessly formed newer territory ahead. Little owner, are you not going to chase in the direction of the fire dragon? The human-eating blood thorn vine king is right on top. Bingji asked in confusion. Lu Muyen mobilized the double swords forward while saying, I naturally have my own way to deal with it. Bingji rolled his eyes. The target was just above. How could she deal with if she came here instead, and didn't follow it upwards? Mo Yan's eyes were still indifferent, but it hid an understanding. You want to try destroying its roots? As expected, Mo Yan is smart. Lu Muyen said. Bingji glared at Mo Yan. This kid would just always come out to please people at the critical moments. Mo Yan replied with a cold look, and Bingji instantly felt that the feathers on his body were about to stand up on its ends. This damned spirit devourer had raised suppression against him. Finally, he cursed Mo Yan in his heart repeatedly, and only then did he feel more comfortable. As Lu Muyen was moving forward, a sliver of spiritual sense was also attached to the fire dragon. After knowing that the dark golden vines entangled the two of them and dragged them to the place above, but didn't do anything for the time being, she gently sighed with relief. While mobilizing the fire dragon to hover over the two people's heads, readying it to fight with the human-eating blood thorn vine king, she also stopped in a place. What entered her eye was the thick root system wrapped in dark golden-colored bark. Each root system also had countless red threads, just like blood vessels. The root system had been extended to a very deep underground place, and spiritual force was being absorbed by its root system incessantly. Lu Muyan's eyes sharpened. Without any hesitation, she flipped her right hand, and a cluster of purple golden-colored flames jumped out of her palm, prepared to act. Who knew that this demon tree is only at initial phase Tier 6 cultivation base? Bingji scanned the aura of the demonic plant opposite him, pursed his lips, and said casually. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Demonic plants have it much harder in cultivating than demonic beasts. Initial phase Tier 6 strength isn't at all weaker than a late phase Tier 6 demonic beast. Not to mention that it's a king. In order for a plant to become a spurt and gain intelligence was hundreds, or even thousands of times more difficult than demonic beasts. That's why demonic plants were exceptionally rare. Each high-level demonic plant birthed could basically sweep out demonic beasts at the same tier. A demonic beast could transform into human form at Tier 7, while demonic plants needed to be at Tier 8. At Tier 6 it could only communicate using demonic sense, and only at Tier 7 could it speak the human language. Each step was a tier slower, but its strength was even stronger. It was useless to deal with such a demonic plant using ordinary fire elemental energy. Of course, if it were a human sword master 2 stages higher than a demonic plant, and who could use fire elemental energy, then they could definitely cause damage towards it. Her cultivation level wasn't enough, so the only thing that could restrain it was mutant flames. If she hadn't subdued the purple golden spirit flame, then she wouldn't dare rush in so easily and take abuse herself. After all, although she had the ability to challenge higher stages, but the demonic plant also had that ability, and it was countless times more difficult to deal with than her. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. She noticed that a powerful aura appeared above, directly waving its vines and sent the bound Yi Qing Han and Yun Lan towards it. The fire dragon kept burning the dark golden-colored vines, but it was of little use. Go. So she said without hesitation, and the purple gold spirit flame was as if it had come alive, turning into a blooming purple peony, and floated out. As soon as the peony touched the main root system of the human-eating blood thorn vine king, the other party shrank swiftly as if it had seen a ghost, but it was too large and could barely move a few steps. Crackle! Several sounds of burning vines resounded, and a faint burnt smell spread in the underground soil. Squeak squeak! A loud and shrill cry sounded. The sturdy tree roots that intertwined deep in the ground actually broke away from the soil and flicked in Lu Muyan's direction, as if it had come alive, one by one. There was also a very indignant demonic sense telepathic voice that was heard. Human, today I must tear you into thousands of pieces. It had been 1,000 years. He had never suffered such humiliation and pain. The power of the flame just now made him feel strong danger. He must kill this danger. Meanwhile, also kill the human that dared to set him on fire, tearing them into countless pieces of flesh and blood, to serve as the nourishment for his roots. Just with you, an ugly demonic plant. Lu Muyen huffed coldly, flipped her hands, and numerous purple peonies instantly floated down. When they met the tree roots that were flicking towards her, they fell piece by piece from the stamens and melted into the dark golden-colored tree roots. Screech, screech. A few more shrieks sounded. All the tree roots that were merged with the purple golden petals made a crackle sound, accompanied by a burning smell. Damned human, if you have the guts then come up and fight me head-on. The human-eating blood thorn vine king was extremely angry, but could do nothing. That purple-colored spirit flame was the nemesis of all them demonic plants, and they'll become trash the moment they touch it. Just now, when his huge root system touched the flame, it had become completely unable to regenerate. His heart was bleeding. Those were the root systems on which he depended for survival. Pfft! Lu Muyen sneered, and the movements of her hands didn't stop, as she specifically attacked the relatively weaker roots, using the purple gold spirit flame. Do you think him a fool? You deserve to die. The human-eating blood thorn vine king was truly infuriated this time. He retrieved the root that he was about to attack Lu Muyen with. The roots of the tree suddenly began to change, becoming shorter and thinner. He was the blood thorn vine king, so he naturally occupied the place with the most abundant spiritual force, and could also move at will. Now that he was restrained by the purple flames, he could only shorten and shrink his rhizomes, so that the human couldn't easily burn them. Lu Muyen sneered and condensed several Taoist seals in midair, shooting them one by one to the place that the tree roots of the human-eating blood thorn vine king had occupied before. Seal! After forming the last Taoist seal with her hands, she slapped it down hard. More than a dozen jade-colored runes emerged from all directions, intertwining together to form a dense net from all sides, trapping the human-eating blood thorn vine king that had shrunk countless times within. When she first saw such huge rhizomes earlier, she just knew that it'd be too laborious to deal with the human-eating blood thorn vine king by just relying on the purple gold spirit flame. It was easy to escape by just shrinking the entire tree root like he did. So from the moment she entered here, she hid her hands in her sleeves, pinching seals and arranging talisman arrays. As long as the human-eating blood thorn vine king was trapped and couldn't move to escape or attack her in wide ranges, she could make him obedient. As her voice fell, the dense net of jade-colored rays of light flourished in all directions and turned into a high wall of dozens of meters, circling with runes, compressing towards the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Come true. Chapter 160. Are you reconciled or unreconciled? The high wall built by the jade-colored runes, intertwined with the purple gold spirit flame, swiftly surrounded the human-eating blood thorn vine king, and locked his demonic energy to prevent him from escaping. Squeak! The human-eating blood thorn vine king above found that the demonic energy of his tree root was bound by the hateful spirit flame. He couldn't shrink it anymore. In a rage, he whipped his dark golden mane vine ceaselessly. With just a few whips, the land above was all split into deep ravines, but he couldn't vent the anger in his chest. The corner of Lu Muyen's lips raised slightly into an arc. When the blood thorn vine king whipped the ground angrily, she reacted extremely quickly and controlled the fire dragon built by elemental energy to roll up Yi Qing Han and Yun Lan, who had been tossed on the ground, and run. When the human-eating blood thorn vine king finally reacted, the fire dragon was already soaring straight into the sky, rushing far away as if riding on clouds and flying on mist. His anger rose and he roared, stretching out his main branch quickly towards the sky, attempting to recapture the two of them. These were his food and nourishment. No humans or demonic beasts had entered his territory for so long. He hadn't tasted fresh blood for decades, so he sure didn't want to let go of his prey like this. But the main part of his branch vines only stretched out a portion when Lu Muhan felt it, and recited a spell, formed seals and bound his roots tightly. The purple gold spirit flame continuously scorched his rhizome, making him feel piercing, heart-wrenching pain for the first time. The vines that were extended retracted unconsciously. Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan were also successfully brought back to the place where Ling Fei Yang and the others were by the fire dragon. As soon as the fire dragon's claws loosened, the two people fell from its claws from a high altitude and directly into the fire cover erected by Lu Muyan. Qinghan Yun Lan. Seeing this, Shifeng quickly squatted down to check the two of them, then completely heaved a sigh of relief. Thankfully they're fine. Fine. Then why can't they move? Mu Yi asked in confusion while supporting the fire cover. After Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan were thrown down, he found that they couldn't move at all. They were poisoned by the paralyzing venom on the vines of the human-eating bloodthorn vine. So it'll take a while for them to recover. Shifeng explained after taking out 2 antidote pills for the two of them to take. In a few breaths of time, Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan's stiff faces and bodies eased a lot. Shifeng asked, "Where's Lu Muyan? We didn't see her. We only know that she saved us with the fire dragon made from fire elemental energy condensation and angered the human-eating blood thornvine king." The paralyzing poison in Yi Qinghan's body gradually disappeared, and he was able to speak again, but there was an indescribable worry in his tone. Yun Lan's eyes also revealed a bit of annoyance. It was him and Yi Qinghan who dragged Lu Muyan down. Your elemental energy isn't the fire attribute, so it's normal for that demonic plant king to have caught an opportunity. Ling Fei Yang said when he saw that the two people's expressions were obscure and annoyed. This really couldn't be blamed on the two of them for dragging them back. It just showed that the human-eating blood thornvine king was too cunning. Yi Qinghan immediately stood up after discovering that his whole body could move. With a thought, a black light flew out from the spirit beast ring on his wrist. Li! Then a deafening cry resounded throughout the entire forest. A Tier 6 golden eagle king with a huge, completely black-brown body, a slight purple luster on its back and shoulders, and a cluster of golden feathers on its head and neck, as if wearing a crown, appeared in front of everyone. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks Qi. I request that you bring her back safely. Yi Qinghan looked at the golden eagle king with deep eyes and said, "All right." The golden eagle king, known as Qi, nodded slightly, spread out his wings indifferently and rushed up, disappearing into the sky in only a few moments. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists tightly. Before, Qi was in a dormant state, so he couldn't contact him. Just now, after being fed a medicinal pill by Shifeng, he suddenly felt the signs of Kai's awakening, so he used his mental energy to quickly rouse him. The Golden Eagle King was the spirit pet he contracted when he was a child. He had accompanied him through almost 20 years of springs and autumns. This time, he just broke through to Tier 6, so he could only hope that he can bring Lu Muyan back safely. Not far from them, Lu Muyan rushed up from underground to the surface. The moment she looked up, she saw a purely golden-colored plant that was more than 10 feet tall, waving its thick vines constantly, while the trunk in the middle revealed very faint facial features. "Damned human, what have you done to me?" The human-eating blood thornvine king couldn't move his root systems, and was firmly trapped by an unknown force and the spirit flame. Lu Muyan played with a cluster of purple gold-colored flames and said, "Naturally to seal you up so that you can't come out and cause trouble. Are you reconciled or unreconciled? How bold! You dare to treat this king like this. This king will definitely tear you to pieces." In the 1,000 years, aside from being beaten by that monster in the Thunder Zone that couldn't be offended, it was the first time the human-eating blood thornvine king had been in such a sorry state. Lu Muyan sneered coldly, "Then I'll let you taste the feeling of your body burning in fiery fire." It seemed that without using some means, this demonic plant king wouldn't yield. She had always disliked forcibly contracting spirit pets when taking them for herself. Since he didn't submit now, then she would beat him into submission. The human-eating blood thornvine was very useful. It wasn't just the best ingredient to use for medicine and brewing wine, and the best material for refining magic tools. It even had powerful combat abilities. Such a spirit pet that was practical and capable of combat. She'd definitely take him for herself. Clusters of purple gold-colored flames separated from her palm, then turned into a pair of intangible hands in midair, grabbing the countless golden vines that were about to attack her. Squeak! The main vine of the human-eating blood thorn vine king was grasped firmly by the purple gold spirit flame that had turned into a pair of big hands. Lu Muyin gave an order and the flames quickly burned, igniting the golden vine. In only a few breaths of time, it was turned into ash. The main vine damaged would also cause backlash damage to the human-eating blood thorn vine king. He hated in his heart that although this human woman was one tier lower than him in strength, but she possessed heavenly-grade spirit flame, which was the nemesis of demonic plants like him. If this continued, he'd definitely be burned to death by this woman. With a change of mind, he directly separated a portion of his body from the root system, beginning from his demonic core, and Yafu upwards, turned and just burrowed into the ground to try to escape. Lu Muyen understood the habits of this kind of demonic plant, so she naturally wouldn't let him succeed, and had long laid out an array before the battle just now. The human-eating blood thorn vine king wanted to plunge into the soil, but was blocked by a layer of jade-colored runes that suddenly rose. There was even a long and thin purple gold-colored flame flowing above the runes. Squeak! The top of the human-eating blood thorn vine king was burned a bit by the purple gold spirit flame, and he hurriedly took a few steps back with lingering fear. Yet who knew that when he was still trying to think of ways to escape, spiral-like jade-colored runes flew up from underground, surrounding him, and directly trapped his original body. The wisps of purple gold spirit flame in the jade-colored runes spun excitedly, as if it would devour the demonic plant in the circle the moment owner gave the order. Human, just what do you want to do? Although the human-eating blood thorn vine king had lived for 1,000 years, but he had only just grown up, and although he proclaimed himself king and this land as his all year round, but his battle experience wasn't that abundant. He also had never suffered such a loss before, so while being completely suppressed by the spirit flame, he could only ask angrily. Lu Muyin raised an eyebrow, and a domineering aura poured out, bold and arrogant. I want you to recognize me as owner. Are you reconciled or unreconciled? At the same time she questioned, the purple gold spirit flame was still dancing with the wind in her palm, as if bearing fangs and brandishing claws, staring at the human-eating blood thorn vine king. As long as he dared to say the word no, it would immediately rush up and teach him another lesson. Come true. Are you reconciled or unreconciled? Lu Muyan's voice was sharp and domineering. The human-eating blood thorn vine king looked at the woman opposite, who was like a beautiful, delicate flower with her light purple clothes fluttering in the wind, revealing a kind of uninhibited boldness, as if looking down upon this world. There was a kind of indignation revealed on his human-like face. This woman actually wanted to take him as her spirit pet. But that purple gold spirit flame was also too powerful. He was suppressed to such an extent that he simply couldn't defeat her. This king isn't reconciled. After considering it for a bit, the human-eating blood thorn vine king toughened its head and said, You, a little girl at Sword King Cultivation Base, actually wanted to take this king as a sprit pet. Truly what a big joke. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile instead of anger, Then this young miss will beat you until you're reconciled. If the human-eating blood thorn vine king just accepted it like that, then she'd actually feel that there was a scheme. Humph, don't use the purple gold spirit flame if you have the ability. The human-eating blood thorn vine king looked at Lu Muyen and said with fear, You want to use reverse psychology? Lu Muyen's eyes revealed a trace of ridicule. I can conquer the purple gold spirit flame, so it's a part of my strength. Do you see me as an idiot? You despicable woman. This king won't play with you anymore. Seeing the ridicule on her face, the human-eating blood thorn vine king spoke furiously, then shot up towards the sky. Since he couldn't run underground, then he'll run away in the sky. Just wait for when he calls a demon cultivator, who didn't fear the purple gold spirit flame, to come as reinforcement. He'd definitely show this woman something good. This woman was fair and tender. Her fresh blood must be very delicious. Lu Muyen watched the human-eating blood thorn vine king's body turn into a golden light and fly towards the sky. the ridicule in her eyes even thicker. Her fingers pointed towards the array that surrounded him, in circle. Immediately, only a muffled sound could be heard, and the human-eating blood thorn-vine king was barricaded by a circling jade-colored rune barrier, and he was bounced back to the ground. Lu Muyin didn't bother to waste time any longer, so she directly leapt into the array with bare and empty hands, enveloped her fists with purple gold spirit flame, then just smashed it towards the human-eating blood thorn-vine king fist by fist. Each time the fists with toughness not inferior to a late-phase Tier 5 demonic beast, carrying a layer of purple gold colors, smashed against the dark golden main branch of the vine, a dent would form, and it would immediately blacken, spreading a burnt smell. Bing Ji watched as the beautiful and lovely little owner's face was dyed with thick battle intent and excitement, slamming each punch down exceptionally violently while the human-eating blood thorn-vine king's shrill cries resounded ceaselessly. Each time he wanted to escape, he'd be blocked by the rune array, then immediately be greeted with the slender fist covered with purple gold. The corner of his lips twitched uncontrollably, eyelids jumped, and he swallowed his saliva as he said to Mo Yan, "Fortunately I haven't truly angered her before." The indifference in Mo Yan's eyes was replaced by a smile, his voice light. "You can go try." Bing Ji rolled his eyes. It wasn't like he was a masochist. Although little owner's cultivation base was one stage lower than him, but she was filled with tricks. Based on those numerous types of spirit arrays alone, it could give him a headache. Not to mention that she still had the purple gold spirit flame that had been tamed to obedience in her body. Spirit flames were a spiritual item that needed at least 1,000 years to birth from heaven and earth. It was divided into mortal rank, earth rank, sky rank, saint rank, and the higher the level, the more difficult to produce, and the longer it took. For example, the purple gold spirit flame couldn't be formed without at least a few 10,000 years. It also required a special geographical environment and the companionship of other spiritual items to slowly be birthed. The heavenly frost golden crystal was a necessary condition for the birth of the purple gold spirit flame, and a mountain with the crisscrossing of extreme heat and extreme coldness was the necessary geographical environment for its birth. Therefore, as long as this kind of spirit flame was subdued by someone, it couldn't only be used for alchemy and smithing, but could also be used in battle. Its destructive power was extremely strong, and was even the nemesis of demonic plants and some demonic beasts. Although Bing Ji was a descendant of a Cyan Luan, but his innate talents were mostly of the ice attribute, so the purple gold spirit flame also had an innate suppressing effect on him. He took another sneak peek at the human-eating blood thorn-vine king, who was being beaten by Lu Muyin, unable to fight back at all, while screaming miserably. He shrunk his neck. In the future, he'd rather offend the red-clothed beautiful man than to offend little owner. When she landed in this area, he saw the shocking scene. That petite and stunning purple-clothed woman had fierce fighting intent between her brows, directly bombarding the human-eating blood thorn-vine king with her fists. What was even more exaggerated was that the human-eating blood thorn-vine king, who was usually very mighty, had no power to fight back right now, and was just fully dodging the little woman's attack with all his might while screaming miserably. That appearance was just terribly miserable. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. He flew to the side of the seven-colored parrot, but then his eyes narrowed. You're not a seven-colored parrot. This bird gave him a very oppressive aura, and even had the sense of oppression from an ancient bloodline. He was definitely transformed from a divine beast. Bing Ji looked up at the mighty and majestic black-brown golden eagle king, his eyes revealing a look of having been delightfully charmed. This figure was so good. Well, little bird, you have some good eyesight. Bing Ji raised his chin with a tsundere look. Chi furrowed his brows. Why did a divine beast turn into a seven-colored parrot? He added in his head, how embarrassing. Bing Ji was poked in his sore spot, then huffed. Little master, I am happy to do so. In the end, wasn't he forced to and was helpless? Little owner didn't allow him to use his true form to appear for fear of causing a sensation. The red-clothed beautiful man deliberately suppressed his demonic energy at a tier where he couldn't transform. If he didn't turn into a seven-colored parrot, Then did he have to transform into a puppy or kitten? Forget it. It was fearful just thinking about it. She was too lazy to pay attention to him. This divine beast gave him an unreliable feeling. But when he moved his gaze to Mo Yen, a coldness mixed with pressure surrounded him, and his heart couldn't help but tremble. Spirit devourer. He couldn't help exclaiming. When Mo Yen heard the Golden Eagle King actually recognize his true form, did he turn his head to Qi, his eyes indifferent? So it turned out to be a golden eagle with the bloodline of a Kuanping divine beast one. Kai's eyes revealed surprise. This spirit devourer was definitely extraordinary. With only a glance, he could actually tell that he had the bloodline of a Kuanping divine beast. Your aura doesn't belong to this interface. You're also from there, right? A layer of light lingered in Mo Yan's deep black eyes, making people unable to see the emotion and depth. There was shock in Kai's eyes. How did he know? You come from there? She asked after falling silent for a bit. Only those who came out from there could feel his aura. No wonder. He was wondering why a spirit devourer that didn't exist on Tianling continent would appear here. So it turned out that he came from the same place as him? Mo Yin didn't hide it either. Towards Qi, who came from the same place as him, there was a sort of recognition. She revealed an excited look. This spirit devourer really came from there. If it wasn't because he unintentionally wandered here, then he was avoiding an enemy. He also gave him a sense of closeness. Bingji listened to them, and there was a hint of confusion that rose in his heart. There was where? You're that woman's spirit pet? She asked after thinking for a bit. Mo Yen made a sound of recognition indifferently. She was even more puzzled and shocked inwardly. The spirit devourer had a pure demonic race bloodline that was comparable to that of a true dragon and heavenly phoenix, and was also a royal race demonic beast. So how did he recognize a lower interface woman with such weak strength as his owner? Mo Yen saw his confusion, but didn't explain either, only asking. You're Yi Qing Han's spirit pet? This golden eagle carried Yi Qing Han's aura, so it must have signed a blood contract with Yi Qing Han since childhood. She suddenly felt as if he understood after hearing what he said. He also sincerely recognized Yi Qing Han as owner, depending on each other in life and death. There must also be a reason for why this spirit devourer recognized that woman as owner. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly heard the shrill screams of the human-eating blood thorn vine king not far away. Reconciled, stop hitting me. Come true. Chapter 162. Owner, is it really good for you to be so violent? Reconciled, stop hitting me. The human-eating blood thorn vine king was in pain all over his body, and in the end he couldn't bear the fists with purple gold flames falling onto his body anymore. So he screamed in submission. Lu Muyen grabbed his main branch vine with one hand and punched with the other. Hearing that he suddenly said he was reconciled, she furrowed her brows. I still haven't fought enough yet. Why don't you fight back? I'm the only one fighting. What a disappointment. It was rare to be able to have a hearty fight. The body of the human-eating blood thorn vine king was very durable against being beaten, so she vented a bit while she was at it. But the only thing that made her dissatisfied was that this demonic plant only knew how to dodge, and it didn't even hurt or itch when he fought back. It really swept away half of her interest. The human-eating blood thorn vine king really wanted to just kneel. What did she mean that she hadn't fought enough, and that him not fighting back even disappointed her? He wasn't a fool. He also wanted to fight back too. But could he even fight back? Her whole body was covered with a layer of purple gold spirit flame. The moment he touched it, head burn. And the toughness of her body was even comparable to that of a demonic beast, alright? If he fought back, he'd not only not be able to hurt her much, but he'd also pay with himself and be burned as well. It wasn't like he had a brain spasm. Hearing Lu Muyan's words, Bingji looked up at the sky speechlessly and muttered, Little owner, is it really good for you to be so violent? Bingji, you have an opinion against me? Although Bingji's voice was soft, but it still fell in Lu Muyan's ears. She narrowed her eyes and said dangerously, it just so happened that she hadn't fought enough and wasn't satisfied. If this stinky bird dared to talk back, then she'd let him transform back into his original form and also abuse him a bit. Bingji immediately put on a flattering smile. How's that possible? My pure heart for little owner can be reflected by the sun and the moon. I'm just complimenting that you fought really well. Little owner just needs to be this violent to make people like you. After he finished speaking, he immediately attracted the contemptuous gazes from Mo Yan, and she, such a shameful divine beast, that Lu's face truly was unheard of. Bingji just ignored the two beasts' gaze, as if he wanted to be punished by owner so violently. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes. Bingji really had no moral integrity. She stomped a foot heavily on the area where the head was on the main body of the human-eating blood thornvine king, and crushed it a few times. Are you really reconciled or fake reconciled? Fuck, this damned woman actually trampled on his head. But he didn't dare reveal his feelings verbally. I'm really reconciled. Be a spirit pet. Well then he'll be a spirit pet. At least it was better than being beaten and burned to death. The human-eating blood thornvine king was extremely regretful at this time. Had he known early on, then when these people entered his area, he wouldn't take the initiative to attack them. This was really losing one's army on top of losing one's wife. When Lu Muyan saw that he was indeed really scared after being beaten by her, did she retrieve her foot and raised an eyebrow? I'll sign a contract of equals with you now. We'll be partners from now on. I won't enslave you either, and I'll also help you improve your strength. Of course, if you want to go back on your word, I won't force you either. Then she added, when she contracted spirit pets, she never liked to force them. Do I dare to go back on my word? The human-eating blood thornvine king had a mouthful of old blood stuck in his chest. If he dared to go back on it, then this little grand ant would definitely beat him to death. Contract of equals partner, help him improve his strength. It didn't sound that bad. I'll just pretend he boarded a pirate ship one. Just contract, am willing to be your spirit pet. It was just a pity for the life he spent here proclaiming himself king, and this land as his. But he had also long wanted to go out and see the outside world. Few humans and demonic beasts came here, and there was no fresh blood to provide nourishment. Relying on absorbing spiritual force to cultivate really was just too slow. Originally he thought to wait until he could transform before going out, as he, right now, simply couldn't move out of this area at all. So it was actually good if he was contracted by this woman, as he could escape that monster's control. And he also didn't have to wait hundreds to 1,000 years to transform. Lu Muyan revealed a hint of satisfaction in her eyes. This time she actually profited in coming to Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. Her two hands kept forming seals, and she mouthed an obscure spell. Strips of jade-colored runes flew out of her body, wounding around the human-eating blood thornvine king. A drop of blood essence fell from her fingertip and dripped onto the top of the other party's head. A warm light circle enveloped the one human and one demon, constantly flowing with colorful glaze-like colors. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After a while, the colorful glazed light circle vanished, and there was also a spiritual connection between Lu Muyan and the human-eating blood thornvine king. The originally reluctant human-eating blood thornvine king's cultivation base, after the contract, suddenly skyrocketed, and the dark golden-colored vines grew numerous main branches again, while the roots returned in his body again. He was completely shocked inwardly. The green fog on this woman could actually allow him to evolve. He instantly soared from initial phase tier 6 to middle phase tier 6 strength. This was the result that he could only obtain after cultivating at least 10 years. Of course, if he absorbed the blood of high-level sword masters and demonic beasts, then he could also advance quickly, but it still wasn't as miraculous as the green fog. Xue pays formal respects to owner. The human-eating blood thornvine king was much more sincere at this time. That green fog was a good thing. It might actually be a good choice to follow this woman, and the resistance in his heart also eased a lot. Lu Muyan was also amazed inwardly at the effect of the green sea of fog. Not only could it remove poison, heal wounds, had a repairing function, and nourish the meridian, but it could also promote the advancement of spirit pets? No. There was no such situation when she contracted Mo Yan, Bingji and Miao Miao. Lu Muyan's eyes were as deep as the sea. It seemed that the green fog was only useful for demonic plants. Then was it also useful for spiritual herbs? An idea suddenly popped up in her mind. She could try it when she returned. She knew that this kind of advancement was only obvious when contracting. The green sea of fog in her body could help Shui, but it would no longer be as fast and miraculous as it was just now. Shui, can you still turn smaller? Lu Muyen furrowed her brows and looked the human-eating blood thorn vine king up and down. It'd be too flamboyant to release such a figure in the future. The human-eating blood thorn vine king couldn't help but hold his forehead with a vine. Shui, could I not want this name? But he didn't dare to resist. Otherwise it was immediate service with flames. Remembering the power of the purple gold spirit flame, he couldn't resist shuddering. Had never forget the burning sensation just now. Now that he was finally repaired by the green fog in that woman, it would be best if he didn't seek death. Owner, I can become the size of your 7-colored parrot. The human-eating blood thorn vine king said respectfully. Only then did Lu Muyen nod with satisfaction. With a thought, the jade-colored rune ribbon that surrounded the human-eating blood thorn vine king entered her body, and the array was also removed. Shui felt that the moment the suppression from the array was dissipated, he could consciously reduce the size of his body to the size of Bingji. You don't have to be so unfamiliar and respectful to me in the future. Lu Muyen looked at Shui seriously and said, in the future, we'll be life and death partners. Once the contract of equals took effect, then it couldn't be broken. Their future life and death would be linked together. She regarded all her spirit pets as partners and not spirit pets. Shui's heart tightened and was actually moved by Lu Muyen's sincerity. His guard was lowered a lot. He also found that the contract signed between them didn't have the coercive oppression on the spirit pet from the owner, and instead, they were equal to each other. So he also didn't resist being her spirit pet anymore. Either way, the two divine beasts opposite were willing to become her spirit pets, so there was even less of a problem regarding face for a demonic plant like him. Meanwhile, in just a few breaths after Shui was contracted, in a secret room of a large hall in the Thunder Zone, a leaf-shaped golden spar suddenly shattered into several pieces. Seeing this, a demon cultivator hurried to Monarch's resting quarters to report the abnormality. Translated product by May Arkham True 1. Basically hell, just consider that he joined a criminal organization he can't get out from anymore. Usually used to mean that they were dragged into something they didn't want to. So hell just have go along with it. Colloquial. It's also apparently used as a joke/loving banter between couples, be it married or not. For example, an example I found on Baidu. Let's say in a couple, partner 1 and partner 2 is in an argument for something partner 1 did. But partner 2 is angry, yet also completely in love, and couldn't bear to do anything to partner 1 because of this love. So partner 2 might say in a helpless manner, I've really boarded your pirate ship, meaning, who could I blame but myself for loving you so deeply and couldn't leave you? I'll just have to go along with everything now. Nothing matters anymore. LOL. Also in Chinese it's Zaichuan. Could be translated to thief ship or ship of thieves. Random note 1. Shui is literally named blood LOL. Bingji is ice halberd. Moyen is ink flame, and Miao Miao aka Jean Miao is golden vast. The word vast in this case is water-related only, like vast ocean. Random note 2. X is pronounced like shu, so Shui is like shui shui said quickly kinda. The reason why it's not just written as sh is because sh is actually a different pronunciation in Chinese. E.g. Shifeng sure is sh. So Xian and Old Man Tian Xian is shuan kinda. Also, although Shui clan pinyin is also Shui, it is pronounced slightly differently because of the tones in Chinese. Just imagine different accents of the same English word. And so Ming Xiu is shu kinda, or something like shu. Also Q is pronounced like ch, so Qing and Yi Qing Han is Qing. Once again, it's not written as ch because ch is a different pronunciation, e.g. like in Qi Yi Xian. And zh is kinda, only kinda pronounced like the English ch with the similarity being that when you say ch, your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. Hard to explain. Or listen to Google or something pronounce the words xd. That's at least somewhat accurate. Though even the same word can potentially have completely different pronunciations, in different contexts, and even different meanings. Sometimes same meaning but different pronunciations. Example, Xue blood can also be pronounced as Xie blood. How do you know which one to use? You just do. Chapter 163. This monarch wants to speak with you privately in the Thunder Zone's main hall. Thunder Monarch wore a silk cyan long robe, leaning lazily on the couch with a glass of wine. The guardian who guarded the demon pavilion hurried in and knelt down anxiously. Monarch, the jade tablet of the human-eating blood thorn vine king is shattered. Thunder Monarch opened his half-closed eyes, his gaze stern and grim. How did it shatter? The guardian of the demon pavilion's body shook and said, he was contracted by a human. Inside the demon pavilion were the demon soul jade tablets of all the tier 6 demonic beasts in the 3 danger areas in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. And they were also all subject to Thunder Monarch. There were only 2 possible ways for the jade tablets to be broken. One was to be killed, and the other was to be contracted by humans. In this area, there had been no such thing as a tier 6 demonic beast, having been contracted by a human for 1,000 years. Who knew that this time, the human-eating blood thorn vine king, that was practically invincible among the tier 6 would be contracted by a human. He was afraid that in a fit of anger, Monarch wouldn't even let go of little demons like him. Thunder Monarch shook the wine glass gently, and with a thought, he flicked 2 drops of wine in the glass into the air. Once the demonic energy was poured in, the previous image appeared again. Within the image was all of what happened when Lu Muyen and her party stepped into the area of the golden thorn bushes. Purple gold spirit flame. Thunder Monarch's thin lips parted lightly. He moved his gaze to the 7-colored parrot and the palm-sized fire cloud mink. His calm eyes revealed a rare hint of surprise. Spirit Devourer and Cyan Wan's descendant. Who knew that our little interface even has such divine beasts? The 3 danger areas had long been controlled by Thunder Monarch, so all the auras of the humans or demonic beasts that entered couldn't escape the detection of his demonic sense. There was a ray of light in his dark eyes, and the hand holding the cup tightened. That woman could just be an opportunity. Monarch, should we catch and bring those human sword masters here? The burly man standing below asked. He was the captain of Thunder Monarch's bodyguards. Seeing Thunder Monarch's expression change constantly, something that hadn't appeared in hundreds of years, he took a step forward, half-knelt, and asked for instructions. Thunder Monarch raised his eyes and scanned the purple-clothed woman in the image, then said leisurely after a while, no need. This monarch will go in person. After speaking in a flash, he disappeared from the large hall. Golden Thorn Bush area. Lu Muyen was in a very good mood after subduing Xue. When she saw the Golden Eagle King standing with Mo Yen not far away, she was taken aback. She walked over and asked, You're Qing Han's spirit pet? This Golden Eagle King exuded the bloodline aura of Yi Qing Han. She could use the ancient contract skill, that's why she could feel it. A hint of surprise flashed in Kai's eyes. This woman was indeed extraordinary. Yes. Owner asked me to take you back. Let's go then. Lu Muyen nodded, then said to the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Xue, call back the human-eating blood thorn vines besieging my friends. Yes, owner. With a thought in Xue's demonic consciousness, all the human-eating blood thorn vines that were besieging Yi Qing Han, and the others burrowed into the ground, and returned to his original body. Seeing that the human-eating blood thorn vines that were attacking the fire cover had instantly disappeared without a trace, Mui sat on the ground wearily and poured out pills to recover. I guess Lu Muyen already killed the human-eating blood thorn vine king, controlling behind the scenes. Should be. Yi Qing Han said, looking not far away. Not long after, the few people saw the black-brown golden eagle soaring in midair towards them, and sitting on his back was precisely Lu Muyen. Muyen, are you alright? Yi Qing Han stepped forward and asked with concern as soon as Lu Muyen touched the ground. Lu Muyen nodded with a smile. No problem. Shifeng raised his head with some worry in his eyes. The human-eating blood thorn vine king's dead? No, but he won't appear to harm us again. Lu Muyen said with a light smile. Although she was good friends with Mu Yi and Shifeng, But they hadn't yet reached the point where they could trust each other in life and death. They could only be regarded as friends, and her best friend was only Yi Qinghan. So she didn't mention the matter of subduing the human-eating blood thornvine king. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. As for Yi Qinghan, she didn't want to hide it from him, and she believed that she would tell him when they returned. Shifeng and Mui weren't talkative people either. After hearing her say that, they also relaxed and didn't ask any more questions. Let's go. Let's sweep up a few Tier 5 demonic beasts and return. Lu Muyin just felt that it wasn't appropriate to stay here for a long time. The others had also recovered quite a bit of elemental energy, so they stood up to leave with her. But after only walking a few steps, Shue's exclamation sounded in Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness. Owner, that monster from the Thunder Zone's here. Lu Muyan felt a little tremble in Shue's voice, and she realized that he was exceptionally afraid of whatever that monster from the Thunder Zone was. Then her eyes were filled with gravity. A demonic beast that could make Shue so fearful could only be the legendary Tier 9 one. But she had not yet even thought of any countermeasures when a dense pressure locked onto this space, and the several people couldn't help but almost kneel on the ground. Lu Muyan's face turned pale. While facing this pressure, a thought actually formed in her mind that she couldn't fight against it. This was precisely the insurmountable gap between cultivation bases. Even if she could fight across stages, but she was still powerless in the face of a powerhouse 2, or even more stages higher. What's this? Shifeng looked emotionlessly in the distance not far away, but his legs were slightly trembling. He tried his best not to kneel and submit. The legendary Tier 9 demonic beast. Yi Qinghan's expression turned grim. He dealt with demonic beasts the most here. The only thing that could make him feel powerless to fight against, with lingering fear as if they were enveloped by death, was probably only that Tier 9 demonic beast. Despair rose in the hearts of the few. Could today really be the day they would truly fall here? Lu Muyin also had a rare look of gloom in her eyes, but she didn't feel helpless. She had lived 2 lives, she wouldn't fear death. The pressure grew denser, and a cyan shadow suddenly appeared in front of the several people. His body was covered in a layer of mist, and his face couldn't be seen clearly. His figure was tall, and the temperament of a king was undoubtedly revealed. Lu Muyan and the others couldn't see through his level of cultivation at all. They only felt a surge of suppression, making them unable to breathe. Is there something you need, Your Excellency? Lu Muyan's eyes didn't have much turbulence, and her voice was calm. She could feel that there wasn't any killing intent from this high-level demonic beast. So the purpose of his sudden arrival could be deliberated. Thunder Monarch's lips curled into an arc. This woman sure was very courageous. Being able to still remain so calm and composed when facing him. He couldn't help but feel a sense of appreciation rise in his heart. You broke into this monarch's area without authorization. Don't you need to give this monarch an explanation? Little owner, don't listen to this monster. The Thunder Zone is his domain, and this is my territory. Shue shouted. He was both afraid and hateful of Thunder Monarch. Lu Muyan's lips twitched. What your territory? If he wanted to kill you, wasn't it like crushing a grasshopper? What do you want us to explain, senior? Yi Qinghan tucked his head and asked. He couldn't let Lu Muyan come forward to deal with this. In the face of such a dangerous powerhouse, a man was needed. Ling Fei Yang and the others also showed the same thought, looking deeply at the mysterious man who appeared. Monarch Ming ignored Yi Qinghan's question and looked straight at Lu Muyan. This monarch wants to speak with you privately. Translated product by May Our Come True. Chapter 164. First collects some interest. This monarch wants to speak with you privately. Upon hearing Thunder Monarch's request, Yi Qinghan and the others were startled. They anxiously wanted to stop him, but Lu Muyan waved her hand to stop them. All right. Lu Muyan looked up at Thunder Monarch and said lightly. The strength of this Tier 9 demonic beast could sweep away countless kingdoms and clans just by going out. How could they be able to resist him here? Thunder Monarch was more satisfied with Lu Muyan's straightforwardness. He gently waved his sleeves and the one demon disappeared from here. He came for Lu Muyan. Shifeng knitted his brows tightly. Ling Fei Yang's hand on the wheelchair clenched so tightly that it turned white. Yenna will be fine. That Tier 9 demon cultivator had no killing intent. But he didn't know what he wanted with Lu Muyen, so he couldn't help but worry. The several people here were very worried. While Lu Muyen stood in a large hall after swaying for a bit, Thunder Monarch walked straight to his throne, and his face was still unclear. He picked up the glass of wine on the table beside him, took a sip and didn't speak. Lu Muyen wasn't in a hurry either. There were no other chairs in the large hall except for the throne, so she just stood there quietly, her eyes cold. After quite a while, Thunder Monarch said, "You're quite bold. Aren't you scared this monarch will kill you all? Your strength is much higher than us. It's just a matter of tapping your finger if you wanted to kill us. Since we can't resist, then why be afraid? It's just a waste of energy." Lu Muyen replied calmly and composedly, "Do you know why this monarch wants to see you privately?" Lu Muyen felt that it definitely wasn't simple for this demonic beast to find her, so she concealed the strange color in her eyes. "Is it for the human-eating blood thorn vine king?" "Ha! This monarch wouldn't put a mere Tier 6 demonic beast at heart." Thunder Monarch's gaze remained indifferent. "Just directly speak your purpose." Lu Muyen couldn't think of what this demon cultivator's plans were, so she went straight to the point. "This monarch will ask you a few questions. If you answer truthfully, then your lives will be spared." Thunder Monarch's voice grew colder, with a hint of threatening. "Of course, if you deliberately deceive this monarch, then you and your companions will remain here, and be the nourishment for the demonic plants in the back garden." Lu Muyen narrowed her eyes, and an indescribable emotion emerged spontaneously. This was the gap in strength. In the face of level suppression, she could only yield. In her heart, the improvement of strength grew even more urgent. She must become the ultimate powerhouse on this continent. Just ask, what's the skill you used to contract the human-eating blood thornvine king? This monarch sees that it's different from the beast-taming skill of Tianling continent. Thunder Monarch played with the wine glass and asked casually. Lu Muyen didn't conceal it either. Ancient contract skill, based on equality contracts. How is it equal? Thunder Monarch continued to ask. Lu Muyen wondered why this demon cared about this, but her face was calm and didn't show it. After the contract is formed, the relationship between me and my spirit pet is that of an equal partnership. I can't force them to do anything they don't want to do. And it's also impossible to take the lives of spirit pets like other beast taming skills can. And the most important thing is that once the contracts of other beast taming skills are successful, when the owner dies, the spirit pet will also definitely die. But the ancient contract skill I use is different. If the owner dies, the spirit pet wouldn't die. Hearing that the other party's breathing wasn't as steady as before, Lu Muyen's lips curled, saying with a smile, "However, the contracted spirit pet must not have the slightest thought of betrayal, let alone the idea of killing their owner. Otherwise it will suffer severe punishment from the laws of space, making them feel as if dying was better than living, and they would never be able to turn their situation over. Can the owner take the initiative to cancel such a contract?" Thunder Monarch asked in a heavy tone. "Can't. I found and cultivated this ancient contract skill in an ancient cultivator's cave. There's only the method of contract, but there's no method to terminate the contract." Lu Muyen shook her head. Thunder Monarch fell silent for a while before continuing to speak. "What if your contracted spirit pet doesn't want to be by your side? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I've always disliked forcing people, same with spirit pets. If they don't want to be with me, although I can't cancel the contract, but I want force and restrain their freedom." Lu Muyen's voice was clear and ethereal, but with a hint of willful uninhibitedness. She would use both hard and soft tactics, but if she still couldn't keep the spirit pet she contracted by her side, then it was she who was incompetent, so naturally she wouldn't restrain their freedom. "How many demonic beasts can you contract with the ancient contract skill?" Thunder Monarch asked while rubbing the wine glass. Lu Muyen cursed Thunder Monarch again and again in her heart. He really was abnormal, like the human-eating blood thornvine king said. Who knew what the use of inquiring about this was? 10 contracts can be made. She didn't say that, In fact, the contract had no upper limit, and instead set a reserved number. Thunder Monarch nodded slightly, paused, then asked, I heard that you human cultivators will have a grand event for the whole continent soon? Yes. In another 2 months, there'll be a continental tournament for hegemony on Tianling continent. Lu Muyin rolled her eyes inwardly. This demon definitely asked while knowing the answer. You're participating? Thunder Monarch's tone was affirmative. Lu Muyin nodded. Participating. Very good. Thunder Monarch took a sip of the wine from the cup, and his voice was cold and mellow. This monarch needs help from you. After it is done, the benefits will definitely exceed your imagination. Lu Muyin chuckled lightly. What if it can't be done? The help wanted by a Tier 9 demonic beast definitely wouldn't be simple. Naturally, there's only a dead end. Thunder Monarch said decisively. Lu Muyan's expression didn't change, and her eyes showed an expression of as expected. But right now she was under the control of others, and couldn't get away for the time being. Help with what? Now isn't the time for you to know. When you actually have the life to survive until you see this monarch again in the tournament for hegemony, then you will naturally know. Thunder Monarch obviously looked as if he didn't want to talk too much. Lu Muyin wasn't annoyed either. Sure. I promise you. The more challenging something was, the more she liked to do it. But she noted down the several threats from Thunder Monarch today. When she had the opportunity, she would definitely repay him a bit. I didn't expect that, although you aren't that old, but you're quite bold. This is the first time this monarch has felt appreciation for a person of the human race. Thunder Monarch chuckled deeply. Then thank you for your appreciation. Lu Muyin replied lightly. What did you all want to do, coming to the 3 danger areas of Sunset Cloud Mountain Range? Thunder Monarch asked. Lu Muyan's bright eyes gleamed. She raised her head and said, Came in to contract a few Tier 5 demonic beasts as spirit pets. Since you want me to do something for you, why don't you give me some interest first? Bingji and Shui, who stood on her shoulders, rolled their eyes at the same time. Did their owner have to be so arrogant? She even dared to ask for interest in front of such a high-level demonic beast. Truly, it made them worship her so much. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes were also dyed with a smile. This woman really had a temperament that wouldn't allow herself to suffer any losses wherever she went. Thunder Monarch was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. This human woman was indeed really interesting. Being here for so many years, this was the first time anyone dared to ask him for interest. Speak. Gift a few peak-phase Tier 5 demonic beasts to me. Lu Muyin said exorbitantly. I believe that with your cultivation base and vision, this request should be considered a drizzle, right? Such a request is indeed nothing. Sure, this monarch agrees. Thunder Monarch didn't hesitate. You also shouldn't remain here any longer. Hurry back and improve your strength to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. After speaking, he didn't wait for Lu Muyin to answer, and with a wave of his sleeve, she and the few people in the golden thorn bushes were sent out of the 3 danger areas. After Lu Muyin disappeared in the large hall, he poured a glass of wine, and there was a rare smile on his stern face. Little girl, after 2 months, I hope you can remain alive to see this monarch come true. Chapter 165. Guess Lu Muyin was sent by Thunder Monarch to outside the foggy forest. As soon as she stabilized herself, 8 peak-phase Tier 5 demonic beasts with their demonic energy bound fell to her side. She looked around and found that there weren't any auras of Yi Qing Han and the others, and also knew that Thunder Monarch didn't want her to be exposed. She walked in front of the several demonic beasts, quickly formed seals, and inserted a different type of contract skill within the ancient contract skill into the body of the demonic beasts. The jade-colored talisman seals entered the bodies of the 8 demonic beasts one after the other, forming a seal in the Yaofu. As long as it was under the influence of her mental energy, others could be recognized as owner. After the contract was completed, she put all the 8 demonic beasts into the spirit beast ring. Mo Yan, can you find out where Qing Han and the others are? Lu Muyin also put Shui into the spirit beast ring. He was also one of her life-saving skills and couldn't be exposed. Mo Yan looked towards the east and said, Over there. It'll take nearly 2 hours to get there. Lu Muyin nodded, then used flash steps to move in that direction. She didn't want to go there so early, and by arriving 2 hours later, she could also bring out 2 demonic beasts, saying that she caught it along the way. Owner, what does the Tier 9 demon cultivator want you to help with? I don't think it'll be that simple. Bing Ji's tone carried some rare cautiousness. Lu Muyin smiled and said, "Well, know when the time comes. Didn't you hear him keep emphasizing that he hopes for me to stay alive to see him? Just what's his purpose?" Mo Yan's eyes darkened. "Did you all discover a problem?" Lu Muyin asked. "What problem?" Mo Yan and Bing Ji asked at the same time. He was constantly asking me about my ancient contract skill, and he emphasized the continental tournament for hegemony. That is, what he asked me to help with must have something to do with the tournament for hegemony. Lu Muyin said. The 2 demons reviewed the conversation between Thunder Monarch and Lu Muyin and found the same problem. Mo Yan said. Indeed, he said last that he hoped you would be alive to see him in the tournament for hegemony, and asked you not to delay, and to hurry back to improve your strength for the tournament. His goal is definitely for the tournament for hegemony. Why is a Tier 9 demon cultivator going for the humans' continental tournament for hegemony? After Bing Ji began to follow Lu Muyin, he also knew of Tianling Continent's tournament for hegemony, so he was very puzzled by the demon cultivator's purpose. Could it be that he wants to destroy the humans' prosperous age? Probably not. Lu Muyin shook her head. Don't overthink it. We'll know when the time comes. She didn't think that Thunder Monarch had such a noble sentiment that he would fight against the human race for the sake of the demon race. From the fact that he gifted her Tier 5 demonic beasts as interest, she knew that Demon Cultivator's personality was extremely indifferent. She just had a feeling that the Tier 9 Demon Cultivator was not only going for the tournament for hegemony, but also had a deep connection with the tournament. Our top priority right now is to improve our strength. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed firmness. Bing Ji, you can't be lazy when we return. Today's events had affected her deeply. It felt very awful to be threatened by high-level powerhouses. If she wanted to break free from such a situation, then she must make herself infinitely stronger, and as such, could also be able to protect her family. I know, owner. Bing Ji nodded. Since meeting that Tier 9 demon cultivator, he also didn't dare to be complacent and conservative anymore. For the first time, a sense of crisis was born in his heart. 2 hours later, Lu Muyin rushed to a dense forest. Shifeng and the others sat cross-legged under a big tree to recover. After discovering a foreign aura, and realized it was Lu Muyan's, the several people opened their eyes and looked at her with a little excitement. Muyan, are you fine? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I'm fine. I've made you all worry. Lu Muyan could see that although the several people were recovering, but the worried looks couldn't be concealed. That Tier 9 demon cultivator didn't make things difficult for you, right? Yi Qinghan asked in concern. No, just asked me about the human-eating blood Thornvine King. Lu Muyan didn't want to tell the few people about her agreement with Thunder Monarch, but he doesn't allow us to stay in the 3 danger areas anymore, so he sent us all out. Yi Qinghan and the others nodded with varying expressions, knowing that things were definitely not that simple, but they understood to not ask any more questions. Let's go back to Luoxi City. Lu Muyan wanted to remove Yi Qinglu and Ling Fei Yang's poison, and quickly return to the Lu clan as soon as possible to prepare for the continental tournament for hegemony. Hearing the tone of that Tier 9 demon cultivator, the continental tournament for hegemony wasn't that simple, and there were also life-threatening worries. She should at least do some more preparations. Alright, the matter of catching demonic beasts at Sunset Cloud Mountain Range was already impossible now, and they also wanted to return to Luoxi City as soon as possible. It only took the few people half a day to return to Luoxi City on Bingji. Originally, Mu Yi and Shifeng didn't plan to stay after visiting, but Lu Muyan's treatment could be observed, so they didn't leave immediately either. At night, Lu Muyan called for Yun Lan and Ling Fei Yang telepathically. The two of them coincidentally went to the courtyard where Lu Muyan resided together. Yenna, you want us for something? Yunlan asked after sitting down. Lu Muyen took out a box of spiritual tea from Yizhan and brewed it. Indeed, there's something. Seeing that both of them looked at her with puzzled eyes, Lu Muyen filled their cups with the brewed spiritual tea, and with a snap of her fingers a white light flashed. The soundproof spiritual proof array that had already been arranged in the room early on activated. With a thought, 2 demonic beasts at peak phase tier 5 strength that had been marked by a contract seal appeared in the room. Most of the late phase tier 5 demonic beasts could all change their size, so the 2 demonic beasts both became the size of ordinary tigers, according to Lu Muyan's request. Yenna, are these 2 tier 5 demonic beasts contracted by you? Yunlan asked, dumbfounded, looking at the demonic beasts on the floor. Ling Fei Yang's indifferent eyes also revealed some shock. Although he knew that Lu Muyen was a spirit beast master, but he was still unaccustomed to it after personally seeing her release peak phase tier 5 demonic beasts. That tier 9 demon cultivator left me in another place in the foggy forest. When I came, I caught 3 tier 5 demonic beasts along the way to contract. Lu Muyen pointed to the 2 demonic beasts whose attributes were very compatible with the 2 and said, Elder cousin brothers, please choose one with the same attribute, and drip a drop of blood to contract. This? Ling Fei Yang thought a bit, then said, you can bring the one you wanted to give me back and give it to Mu Bai or Mu Ting to contract. Yunlan also felt that he owed Lu Muyen a lot. When there's another chance in the future, you can help me contract. You can bring these 2 back to the Lu clan. Lu Muyen praised the character of the 2 in her heart. In the face of such temptation, although they desired it, but they were still able to remain clear-headed. They were worthy for her to raise. Elder cousin brothers don't believe in my ability that much? Lu Muyen smiled brightly and said, since I can catch these 2 tier 5 demonic beasts to contract, then I'll naturally be able to find more suitable spirit pets for my elder brothers in the future. The attributes of these 2 demonic beasts are very compatible with the 2 of you. Hurry up and make a contract, otherwise you'll be angry. Ling Fei Yang and Yunlan exchanged a glance, and found that Lu Muyen wasn't joking. There was warmth in their eyes, and the 2 were no longer quarrelsome. They stepped up and chose a demonic beast each to drip a drop of blood and contract. Chapter 166. Arrange an array to lift the blood curse early the next morning. After Lu Muyen applied acupuncture on Yi Qinglu and went back to her room to rest for 2 hours, she started to prepare the materials needed to break the blood curse in Ling Fei Yang's body. Muyen, what are you looking for? I'll help you find it. Yi Qinghan saw that Lu Muyen was about to go out, so he stepped forward to ask. Lu Muyen originally didn't want to trouble Yi Qinghan again, but seeing the anticipation in those obsidian-like eyes, she thought about it, then gave him a list. Then I'll trouble Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took the list and scanned it once, saying, I can find all these things. Muyen, you go back to your room to rest first, and I'll come to you when I find everything. All right. Lu Muyen sighed when Yi Qinghan walked away quickly with the list in hand. Yi Qinghan's kindness towards her, she remembered it all, but she was unable to reciprocate the feelings other than that of friendship. But suddenly drifting apart would also cause misunderstandings. She could only take one step at a time and see what happens. After chatting with Yi Qinglu and Mu Xia, Lu Muyen returned to her room and started to meditate. At night, she took out some of the blood thorn sacks obtained from the human-eating blood thorn vine king. After obtaining Yi Chen's approval, she took the water from the spiritual spring on the mountain behind the Yi clan and began to brew spiritual wine. After regrouping at Sunset Cloud Mountain Range, Shifeng and the others gave Lu Muyen some of the human-eating blood thorn vines they obtained. In order to not expose that she had already contracted Shui, she thought about it and decided to take it, prepared to brew spiritual wine with it, then gift it. A day later, Yi Qinghan returned with the things that Lu Muyen needed. She discovered that there was a remote yard in the Yi clan, where the sun was very strong every day. It was uncomfortable for people to live in it, so it was used to store miscellaneous things. She needed this kind of strong sunlight to lift the blood curse from the devil cultivator, so she borrowed the courtyard from the Yi clan. After hearing that she was going to start to lift the blood curse on Ling Fei Yang, and after obtaining her permission, Shi Feng and the others came to observe from a distance. Even Yi Chen and Yi Zhan coincidentally came at the same time. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang, go sit in the circle I drew, and don't step outside the circle no matter what happens. Lu Muyan pointed to a circle drawn with cinnabar in the middle of the yard. Ling Fei Yang had a warm smile on his handsome and elegant face. All right. After speaking, he went straight to the circle and sat cross-legged. Lu Muyan took out the 4 jade sculptures of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird and black tortoise, placing them in the 4 positions of east, west, south and north. Everyone watched her put down the jade sculptures. Then she measured her steps with a serious expression, and placed a copper coin on the ground every few steps. Is she setting up an array? Yi Chen asked Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan kept his eyes fixed on Lu Muyan's movements. Yes, but I've never seen such an array. Isn't this girl's talent too strong? Yi Chen's complexion changed, and he couldn't help but sigh. Array masters were even rarer on Tianling continent than alchemists, smiths and spirit beast masters. They not only needed talent, but also needed to comprehend elemental energy of the 3 attributes of fire, wood and metal. The secret manuals to do with arrays were rarely circulated in public, and the array methods outside were generally foundation texts. Some were also incomplete. It wasn't difficult to learn by oneself, but it was exceptionally difficult to achieve success. Indeed, alchemist, spirit beast master, array master. This girl's talent is probably unmatched even by those super geniuses in the northern and southern regions. Yi Zhan also revealed admiration in his eyes. This girl would show people a new side of her every time they met. Yi Chen took a sip from his teacup, and said after a while, not only that, but it also showed that this girl had comprehended 3 attributes of elemental energy. The color blue is made out of indigo, but is more vivid than indigo. I've currently only comprehended 3 kinds of elemental energy, at late phase, sword monarch cultivation base. She hasn't even reached the age of 18. The eastern region will only be her starting point in the future. Yi Chen's eyes darkened, and he added, what's so good about staying in the eastern region? I don't approve of Qing Han inheriting the Yi clan. I hope he can also join a sect after the continental tournament for hegemony. Yi Zhan wasn't pleased. He was very opposed to the idea of the Yi clan's superiors wanting Yi Qing Han to inherit the Yi clan in the future. With Yi Qing Han's talents, if he didn't go to the northern and southern regions to pave a way for himself, then it was a pity. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Yi Chen nodded. Qing Han inheriting the Yi clan is just the last resort of the ancestors. If he can enter one of the 6 major sects through the tournament for hegemony, and become an outer core pupil, then the clan naturally won't hold him back. If there's no accident, he will. Eldest brother should look for someone else who is suitable to inherit the Yi clan's head of family in the future. Yi Zhan's implication was that Yi Chen could start looking for an heir and train them. If Yi Qing Han couldn't make it to the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony this time, and had no fate with the sects, he would still bring him to travel the continent and find opportunities for development. I'll think about it, Yi Chen said. About an hour later, Lu Muyan finished arranging the 4 symbols unification array, walked to the center of the array, and sat cross-legged. She took out a black array flag from her interspatial ring. This was a soul-suppressing flag she refined, specifically used to absorb and refine evil spirits, and it could also be used as a flag for arrays. She exhaled a breath of essence from her mouth to mobilize the array flag. Then the array flag was controlled by her, and landed above the array in mid-air. She kept forming seals with both hands, and chanted an obscure spell as usual. Taoist seals flew out of her hands, and penetrated into the 4 jade sculptures one after the other. Strips of jade-colored talismans connected the 4 jade sculptures, and instantly, brilliant rays of lights flourished, and the copper coins on the ground also trembled slightly. Quick! She whispered, and the jade-colored talisman ribbons flew out from the 4 jade sculptures, one by one, and entered Ling Fei Yang's body. Time passed bit by bit, Everyone just saw strips of jade-colored talismans enter and exit Ling Fei Yang's body. Each time it exited, a trace of black aura would be entangled with it. As soon as the black aura appeared, the array flag above the array could ceaselessly spin and absorb it all. Ling Fei Yang's body trembled countless times, as if spasming in pain. Evil spirits would even appear in his mind to lure him out of the circle. He quickly recited the scriptures, his heart calmed bit by bit, and he persevered through willpower. After an entire day and night passed, Ling Fei Yang suddenly opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of black blood. The black blood squirmed a few times. Lu Muyan intertwined her hands and formed a seal. Her eyes sharpened and her red lips slightly parted. Collect! The array flag above the array lit up brilliantly, and a big hand condensed from elemental energy reached out and stretched towards the black blood on the ground. After a while, the big hand slowly pulled back out from the black blood, and everyone saw that it was grabbing the souls of several evil spirits, forcefully tearing and dragging them back into the array flag. As soon as those evil spirits were pulled out, they wailed like ghosts and howled like wolves, but no one sympathized with them. They only all hoped to eliminate them as soon as possible. The moment the evil spirits entered the array flag, the pile of black blood on the ground gradually turned red and faded, then finally disappeared. Ling Fei Yang's complexion also gradually turned from pale to rosy, and the blood curse that had trapped him for the few years was finally lifted. Lu Muyan collected all the evil spirits into the array flag, and with a wave of her hand, the array flag landed in her palm. The blood curse had been lifted. She put away the magic tools used to arrange the array with one by one, then stood up with a pale complexion and said, "I'm a little tired, so I'll go back to rest first. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang, after you return, remember to adjust your body and rest for 3 days." "All right. Yenner, hurry back and go rest." Seeing her stunning little face turn pale, Ling Fei Yang said in concern. Lu Muyan was indeed really tired, so she greeted everyone and went back to her room to rest. 3 days later, Lu Muyan walked out of her room, and Yi Chen had long been waiting outside for a while. "Lu girl, our Yi clan's ancestors want to see you. Come true." Chapter 167. No losses at all. Lu girl, our Yi clan's ancestors want to see you. Hearing Yi Chen's words, Lu Muyan's expression didn't change. She nodded with a light smile. "Then I will trouble Uncle Yi." Yi Chen brought her to a hidden courtyard and teleported using a teleportation array in a secret room. Lu Muyan was a little curious about the secret area of the Yi clan. They actually needed to use a teleportation array. If it wasn't because it was too far away, then it was too secretive. Yi Chen placed 2 spiritual stones on the teleportation array, and as soon as the teleportation array lit up, the 2 disappeared in the secret room. When Lu Muyan walked out of the teleportation array, she found a stream of spiritual force waft into her nostrils. This was the place with the densest spiritual force she had ever seen here. "There's still a way to go, let's walk over." Yi Chen saw that Lu Muyan's eyes were still indifferent. He revealed an amiable smile on his face, and he thought higher of her. Lu Muyan just happened to want to inquire about something from Yi Chen. "All right. By the way, what kind of spar was that rock that Uncle Yi placed in the teleportation array?" She had always suspected that there were spiritual stones on Tianling continent, but she had never seen it before. Just now, when she saw Yi Chen use 2 low-quality spiritual stones to activate the teleportation array, she was able to guess that spiritual stones were probably only used between high-level powerhouses or distinguished clans as currencies of transaction. "That's a spiritual stone which is necessary to activate the teleportation array," Yi Chen said with a smile. The spiritual stones contain spiritual energy, which can not only be used for teleportation and forming arrays, but it could also be used to absorb by oneself, and is a currency for transactions. The only people who have spiritual stones in Yinzhou Kingdom are those in the Imperial family, and they're mostly used for teleportation. It's normal that you haven't seen them before. So that's how it is. Then is it that the currency used for transactions between high-level powerhouses also spiritual stones? Crystal card is useless. Lu Muyan asked with a smile. Yi Chen's eyes were filled with admiration. This girl was indeed bright. She only just heard that spiritual stones were a trading currency, and already thought that it was used among high-level powerhouses. Indeed, the powerhouses above Sword Sovereign basically don't use crystal cards to trade. If they don't trade item for item, then they exchange things with spiritual stones. If you see such spiritual stones in the future, remember to collect them. It's very useful. Yi Chen thought a bit, then took out a low-quality spiritual stone and handed it to Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan took it and felt that the spiritual force contained within was similar to that of the immortal cultivation world. She returned it with a smile. Thank you, Uncle Yi, for reminding me. I've remembered. Yi Chen didn't take it. I'll gift this spiritual stone to you. It'll be good for you to compare with in the future. Lu Muyan wasn't quarrelsome either, so she accepted the spiritual stone and thanked again. She could see that the spiritual stone was also a very precious thing in the Yi clan. By the way, the spiritual stone has the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The color is also similar to the attribute. For example, the red spiritual stone given to you just now has the fire attribute. Yi Chen reminded. The two walked and chatted, and after a while, they arrived at a quiet woods. Following the woods upwards, Lu Muyan saw a small lake in the distance, and the lake was filled with a layer of mist. There was a hint of surprise in Lu Muyan's eyes. This Yi clan was truly worthy of being ranked 3rd in the 10 distinguished clans, and also as the most mysterious clan. There was even a lake that was formed from a spiritual spring's mouth of a spring. Following a small bridge, the two walked to the innermost bamboo house in the center of the lake. Ancestor, I have brought the Lu clan's little girl, Yi Chen said respectfully while standing outside the bamboo house. The door of the bamboo house opened automatically after he said it. Come in. Lu Muyan followed Yi Chen into the wooden house, and saw an elderly male and elderly female sitting on the side. This junior greets 2 seniors. Lu Muyan performed a greeting of juniors. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. The elderly woman sitting cross-legged on the right slowly opened her eyes and glanced at her quietly. Lu Muyan felt an oncoming pressure from the elderly woman, but there was no killing aura, nor any suppression, only a test. She mobilized her entire Buddhist spiritual energy, smiling faintly, and not moving a single bit. Oh, the elderly woman whispered. This little girl with the strength of a sword king indeed had some ability, although her pressure didn't have any suppressive killing intent. But it wasn't something that any ordinary sword master could resist without feeling flustered. Lu clan's little girl sit. The white-bearded elderly man who sat on the left revealed a slight smile. Lu Muyan wasn't restrained either. She saw that there were indeed a few wooden chairs next to the 2 of them in the wooden house, so she found one at random to sit down on. Yi Chen's eyes showed some satisfaction, and he also picked a chair and sat down. This little girl's manner was indeed rare. She wasn't startled by great waves, and was calm and collected as ever. If she really became his daughter-in-law in the future, that wasn't that bad. Lu girl, I heard that Qing-less poison has been cured by you for the most part? The elderly man who sat above said. Lu Muyan answered truthfully. It's true that most of the poison has been removed, and it could be completely removed in another half a month. It is truly rare for one to have such medical skills at such a young age. The Lu clan is fortunate. Senior praises with exaggeration. Lu Muyan smiled modestly. Lu Muyan quietly waited for what the elderly man wanted to say next with a faint smile. She knew that the 2 ancestors of the Yi clan definitely didn't meet her today, for Yi Qing-less situation. Not arrogant nor impetuous, a good temperament. The elderly woman, who hadn't spoken, suddenly said with a hint of liking in her tone. The white-bearded old man nodded in agreement, and no longer kept her guessing, smiling as he said, Lu girl, this old man won't go around in circles anymore with you. Do you still have marrow cleansing pills? Lu Muyan's eyes were light, but she thought as expected inwardly yes. I wonder if you can sell a few to our Yi clan. The white-bearded elderly man asked. Whether the efficacy of the marrow cleansing pill was as miraculous as in the legends, they naturally knew best. After all, Yi Qinghan's meridians had been more than doubled by the marrow cleansing pill. Using this kind of pill to raise several talented juniors was definitely a significant matter for the Yi clan. The strength of each clan was actually not about how big it was and how rich its assets were. The key point actually depended on the number of high-level powerhouses. If the clan was big and had a big business, but there were no high-level powerhouses, then they'd inevitably embark on the road of elimination. Although I don't have many marrow cleansing pills on hand right now, but am on friendly terms with Qinghan and Qinglu, I can take out 3 to trade to the Yi clan. Lu Muyin thought a bit and said. The 2 ancestors glanced at each other and sighed that this girl indeed knew how to be a good person. She previously gave Yi Qinghan and Yi Qinglu a marrow cleansing pill each and didn't ask for any benefits. Now she took out 3 more again. They couldn't help but be moved. After the last application of acupuncture, Lu Muyin gave Yi Qinglu a marrow cleansing pill to wash the marrow and cleanse the body. The superiors of the clan all knew about this and were shocked by her generosity. Only after guessing that she didn't just have 1 marrow cleansing pill left did the Yi clan's ancestors open their mouth, wanting to exchange for a few. Little girl is very straightforward, so our Yi clan naturally can't let you suffer. Do you want to exchange purple gold coins? Or do you want to exchange using items? The white-bearded old man touched his beard and looked loving. Lu Muyin had long guessed the purpose of why the Yi clan's ancestors sought for her. She originally had an exchange list thought of, but now she had changed her mind. Senior, this junior likes to study arrays, and heard that many high-level arrays required spiritual stones to complete. I wonder if I can request for spiritual stones in exchange for my marrow cleansing pills? Lu Muyin appeared as if young and unexperienced, asking with a little embarrassment. Yi Chen couldn't resist twitching the corners of his lips. It seemed that the person who told her of this was himself, right? Was this himself cheating himself? This girl really didn't let herself suffer any losses. Learning and applying it pragmatically, no losses at all. After all, spiritual stones were rare. Chapter 168. Was there an end or not? Hearing that Lu Muyin wanted to trade with spiritual stones, the 2 ancestors of the Yi clan were surprised. Little girl, do you also know the path of the arrays? The white-bearded elderly man asked, half believing, half disbelieving. The path of the array and restrictions weren't so easy to learn. In the entire Tianling continent, all the high-level array masters could be counted on 2 hands. Even low-middle level array masters were people strongly vied for by major forces. From this, one could see just how scarce array masters were. Without any talent and strong comprehension abilities, it definitely wasn't possible to become one. This Lu clan's little girl was already an alchemist at such a young age, could also tame beasts, and now she even understood arrays. Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? Hearing such news, the shock was too great, and they had never seen it in action before, so they couldn't help but have some doubts. I know a little bit. Lu Muyin nodded with a smile. My master once taught me the surface of things. Well, to the master who I don't even know where you are. Please excuse me, I'll use your name again. The 2 from the Yi clan was stunned for a bit, then quickly understood. It seemed that the respected master behind the Lu clan's little girl was a remarkable person. Little girl, I wonder who your respected master is? Could you reveal a little? The white-bearded old man asked curiously, then added after a pause. Of course, if it is inconvenient, then you don't have to say. Everyone had their own secrets. If the Lu clan's girl didn't want to reveal the identity of her respected master, then they naturally wouldn't force her. My respected master is Old Man Tianxian. Lu Muyin was already prepared to use this name to deal with all those who questioned who her respected master was. And she didn't lie either. Old Man Tianxian was her master in the previous life. It was just that the name that she casually spoke made the pupils of the 2 Yi clan elders constrict, and the elderly woman almost cried out. Lu girl, you actually could have Old Man Tianxian as your master. Truly what a great fortuitous encounter. The white-bearded old man's expression changed and said with a smile. Lu Muyin also discovered that the 2 was a little weird. Her eyelid couldn't help but jump. Could it be that there was also an old man Tianxian on Tianling continent? Senior knows my master? Lu Muyin asked tentatively with a smile. The face of the white-bearded old man changed again, and he said with a dry laugh, "How could this old man know such a powerhouse?" Lu Muyin blinked her eyes, and now thought inwardly that she was doomed. How could it be that a name she randomly pulled out be the same name as someone else? And it seemed that this person wasn't a trivial person either. So it turns out that my master is this famous. Lu Muyin continued in an attempt to gain more information. Your respected master is very low profile, and is also a peerless powerhouse. He hadn't shown his face for hundreds of years. Who knew that you would have such a fortuitous encounter to be under him? There was a hint of envy in the white-bearded old man's tone. Lu Muyin suddenly felt her head pound. Peerless powerhouse? Although her master was indeed a peerless powerhouse in the spiritual world, but this was Tianling continent. That old man already became a wandering immortal, and definitely couldn't have also transmigrated onto this continent. Then there was only one possibility, that was the same name. However, the old man Tianxian here hadn't appeared for hundreds of years, so she would just use his name temporarily. In the future, it was best to not raise the question of who her respected master was. So that's the case. In fact, I've also only met my respected master once. He taught me some things, then went to wander around. Lu Muyin sighed. Inwardly, she sure hoped that they didn't ask her to help make connections or anything. She herself didn't even know who this old man Tianxian here was either. Sure enough, she caught a serious, obscure flash of disappointment in the eyes of the Tu Yi clan's ancestors. She was glad that she was clever and blocked their mouths beforehand. Then you have to study hard, especially on the path of the arrays. After all, your respected master is one of the strongest array masters on Tianling continent. The white-bearded old man had a look of reverence in his eyes. There were very few sword masters in the eastern region who knew that old man Tianxian existed. And there was Lu Muyin's talent to consider, especially the fact that she understood the path of the arrays, which was very consistent with the Almighty's most powerful aspect. So it didn't make the Yi clan's ancestors doubt her words. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, this junior will. Lu Muyin smiled modestly. Her expression didn't change, but her heart was turned upside down. This old man Tianxian was actually one of the strongest array masters on Tianling continent. Her master in the spiritual world was an alchemy master, and he hadn't even studied arrays as thoroughly as herself. It seemed that they indeed weren't the same person. But if she had a chance, she really needed to go and exchange pointers with this old man Tianxian on the path of the arrays. Senior, then what do you think about the exchange conditions this junior mentioned just now? Lu Muyin asked with a smile. That was practically all the news she wanted to inquire about. If she asked any more, she might expose herself. So it was better to change the subject as soon as possible. The white-bearded elderly man and the elderly woman looked at each other. Then he looked at Lu Muyin with a more loving expression and said, "You are a friend of Qing Han and Qing Le. We can still satisfy this exchange requirement, but we wonder how many spiritual stones you want. This junior doesn't have a number in mind either. How about senior decide?" Lu Muyin smiled without concern, refreshing and generous. But she cursed old fox inwardly. How could she list the price? Seeing how Yi Chun was twitching his lips just now, she knew that the Yi clan wouldn't have a lot of spiritual stones either. If she couldn't resist and asked for an exorbitant amount, she was even afraid that they wouldn't be able to afford it. Now that she turned the tables by placing the responsibility on him, she didn't believe that this old man wouldn't feel embarrassed if he gave too little. Plus the name of her fake master. Today she definitely would make a profit in this business. The white-bearded elderly man had a smile on his face, but he was bleeding inwardly. This girl could ask for anything, yet why did she have to want spiritual stones? However, they'd appear too stingy if they didn't give it to her. How about 300 spiritual stones? Lu Muyin rolled her eyes inwardly. 300 low-quality spiritual stones. Was he trying to send away a beggar? But after seeing Yi Chen's distressed appearance, she could guess that 300 was already the limit for the Yi clan to exchange with. However much Senior says is however much. Lu Muyin replied humbly. She comforted herself inwardly. 300 low-quality spiritual stones was actually not that bad at all. It was better than having purple gold coins that were practically useless. If the three of them knew she was still dissatisfied with the amount, they'd definitely vomit blood. The total amount of spiritual stones in their Yi clan was only around 20,000 pieces, and the daily consumption on arrays was already huge. These were all spiritual stones that were exchanged from going to larger regions and helping contract spirit pets. Being able to take out 300 to trade for the marrow cleansing pill wasn't just because they wanted to befriend Lu Muyen, but it was also because they feared the old man Tian Xian behind her. By the way, I think seniors already know that I have an Icewan spirit pet. He very much likes to eat the belly beads of the Jiangchuanlin fish, so I wonder if the Yi clan still has any collected? This junior wants to exchange for some. Lu Muyen expressed a very obedient and agreeable look. Those beads were a good thing. Not only were they useful to Bingji, but also extremely useful to her. Bingji stood on Lu Muyan's shoulder. When he heard her say that, he was even touched by her. Little owner really was so kind. The belly bead of the Jiangchuanlin fish? The white-bearded old man secretly observed that the eyes of the seven-colored parrot, transformed from the ice wan, lit up after hearing about the belly bead, and his expression also became excited. So he believed her words. There are still some in the clan's inner storehouse. I'll let Yi-Chin deliver it to you later. The white-bearded old man said without hesitation. Lu Muyen said with a smile. Then this junior will use some herbs in exchange. No need. The Jiangchuanlin fish's belly beads aren't worth much, so I'll gift you all of it. The white-bearded old man waved his hand and said generously. There was indeed a trace of water spiritual force in those belly beads of the Jiangchuanlin fish, but they and other clans hadn't been able to find a way to refine and absorb them even after researching for many years. It was fine to use those to form a better relationship. Then thank you, Senior. Lu Muyan's face revealed a senior. You really are very generous expression, which made the white-bearded old man smile even more. Junior still wants to trade for something else. I wonder if Senior is willing to give it up? Lu Muyan asked, taking the opportunity to strike while the iron was hot, with a hint of embarrassment on her face. The white-bearded old man's smile froze. Even Yi-Chen's lips couldn't help but twitch again. Was there an end or not for this girl? Chapter 169. What about your demeanor of a transcendent being? Junior still wants to trade for something. I wonder if Senior is willing to give it up. The two ancestors of the Yi clan, and Yi-Chen didn't know what else she wanted to trade for. And they were also a little curious. I wonder what little Lu girl wants to trade. The white-bearded old man asked as he touched his long beard. Lu Muyan's eyes gleamed brightly and said with a smile. I want to trade for the spiritual spring water in the depths of the mouth of the spring beneath this spiritual lake. Hearing her words, the expressions of the three people in the house changed. The girl came here for the first time, but actually discovered the mouth of the spring beneath the spiritual lake. I wonder what you want the spiritual spring water in the depths of the mouth of the spring for? The elderly woman asked before the white-bearded old man. Used to brew spiritual wine. Lu Muyin didn't conceal it either. If she didn't talk about the spiritual wine, then she probably wouldn't be able to obtain the spiritual spring water. A surprised expression appeared on the face of the white-bearded old man. Brew spiritual wine? You can. Lu Muyin smiled lightly. Master once tossed me a secret manual for brewing wine. I studied it myself for a while, and have already brewed a few pots with the blood sac of the human-eating blood-thorn vine, and it doesn't taste too bad. According to the records in the secret manual, if it is brewed with the spiritual water in the depths of the spiritual spring's mouth of the spring, then the spiritual wine brewed would be even richer, more mellow, sweeter and more refreshing, and the effect of improving one's skills will also be better. She added. The white-bearded old man couldn't help holding his forehead. This girl really was a freak. How was she able to do anything? This talent was a little too heaven-defying. No wonder it was said that after a person with terminal meridian's constitution had recovered from it, their talent would be exceptionally abnormal and monstrous. Now it seemed that they were indeed very abnormal and monstrous. Take out the blood sack wine you made and let us have a taste. If it does indeed taste really good, then this old man will trade with you. When it came to wine, the white-bearded old man was filled with energy. One must know that the limited amount of spiritual wine of Stream Reflection Restaurant every month was all booked by him. Lu Muyen took out a white jade wine jug and 3 white jade cups. After filling them, she gave it to the 3 of them to drink. The liquid in the white jade wine cup was transparent and cherry red, so clear one could see the bottom. The moment the wine was poured into the cup, its rich and mellow aroma wafted into their nose, causing the white-bearded old man to swallow irresistibly. Yi Chun and the elderly woman took a sip from the wine cup, and they couldn't help revealing pleasant surprise in their eyes. The white-bearded old man deeply smelled the aroma of the wine in the cup, and drank it in one mouthful. Then he smacked his lips with an expression of reflecting on its aftertaste. He slapped his thigh. Good wine! Then, like a gust of wind, he swiftly arrived before Lu Muyen, took the wine jug from her hand, and returned to his original position to drink one cup after another. His appearance of drinking with abandon made Yi Chun twitch uncontrollably, and his heart was bleeding. My ancestors, ah! Can you leave some for us? After the elderly woman finished the spiritual wine in her cup, and saw the white-bearded old man being so reckless, she couldn't help furrowing her brows. Old man, save some. Save what, ah? The white-bearded old man turned the white jade jug upside down, and the last 2 drops of wine dripped down. He said as if his flesh hurt. How come it's gone after only a few drinks? The corner of Lu Muyen's lips twitched slightly. What about your demeanor of a transcendent being? He was just a whole old alcoholic now. Lu girl, didn't you say that you brewed a few jugs of blood sack wine? Oh, you should at least pay some respects with presents to me, this old man. After coming to the Yi clan, the white-bearded old man rubbed his hands vulgarly, saying with a smile, this was the sweetest and most fragrant spiritual wine he had ever drank, and it was many times purer in taste than the spiritual wine that came out from the Stream Reflection Restaurant that those fussy people brewed to specifically whet one's appetite. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. She really was worthy to be that one's disciple. Not to mention all the other talents. Just based on the talent of winemaking, she'd definitely be able to eat all the tasty food and strong drinks she wanted out there. There was absolutely no worry that she wouldn't be able to survive out there. And there'd definitely be numerous people who would want to curry favor with her. As expected, his family's Han boy has good eyesight. He already brought the little girl back to see his parents so quickly. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. If Lu Muyen knew what the old man was thinking, she'd definitely snatched the jug over and not let him drink a single drop. She was obviously here to treat people all right. When the elderly woman heard his words, she suddenly felt that, not to mention losing face, she also completely lost everything inside her. Old man, don't see spiritual wine and become abnormal. You'll scare the little girl. The white-bearded old man laughed dryly, then said, Isn't it just because I saw delicious wine, so I didn't control myself the best? After speaking, he stared at Lu Muyen with glowing eyes. Lu Muyen didn't take his behavior and go along with it, instead saying with a light smile, Senior, how about I exchange this blood sack wine for the spiritual spring? Exchanged. The white-bearded old man made a direct decision. Then his eyes rolled around in thought and said, But this time you have to give me a few more jugs of blood sack wine, and also send a few jugs of fine wine brewed from the spiritual spring in the future. As long as you don't empty the spiritual spring in the depths of the mouth of the spring, you can take as you like. Yi Chun was utterly speechless, looking up at the sky. My ancestor, ah! That was the spring water essence that the Yi clan's spiritual spring's mouth of the spring nurtured for thousands of years. Could you not be so prodigal? The elderly woman also shook her head helplessly. As soon as this damned old man saw wine, had become a nut job. Although she also felt pained inwardly. But they couldn't go back on what the old man had said. All right then, that's a promise. Lu Muyen's grape-like bright black eyes flashed with brilliant colors. The spring water in the depths of the Yi clan's mouth of the spring was the essence of thousands of years. It was definitely effective for brewing blood sack wine and other types of spiritual wine. Fortunately, this old man was addicted to alcohol. Otherwise, it would have definitely been difficult to exchange for the spiritual spring. In the end, Lu Muyen gave all 6 jugs of blood sack wine to the old man, then jumped into the depths of the spiritual lake's mouth of the spring herself, and began to collect spring water. Of course, although she had the ability to take all the essence of the spiritual spring, but she didn't do it. She still understood the principle of knowing when it was enough. But she still took away about half of the spring water, so that when the white-bearded old man sobered up eventually after drinking wine, he thumped his chest and stamped his feet all day long, extremely pained in his heart. From time to time he would even urge Yi Qing Han to quickly take Lu Muyen in as his wife. Rich water shouldn't flow to others' fields too. It annoyed Yi Qing Han so much he directly went into closed-door cultivation. Lu Muyen stayed at the Yi clan another half a month, and after completely detoxifying Yi Qinglu and Ling Fei Yang, she bid farewell and prepared to return to the Lu clan. Elder sister Muyen, why don't you just cultivate at the Yi clan, then go to the continental tournament for hegemony with elder brother? Yi Qinglu hugged Lu Muyen's arm, reluctant to let her leave. I'll go ask ancestors to let you use the secret area to cultivate. The spiritual force there is very abundant. Yi Chen felt helpless. Why did this girl's elbows turn the wrong way? Could just anyone go into the secret area to cultivate in it? Of course, if the Lu girl brought 2 jugs of spiritual wine to visit ancestor, then she could definitely remain in the secret area to cultivate. There are no feasts in this world where guests do not depart for. I still have things to do when I go back to the Lu clan, so I really can't remain here any longer. Besides, we'll probably meet again very soon. Lu Muyen patted Yi Qinglu's head and said softly. Yi Qing Han also wanted Lu Muyen to stay for a while longer, but he knew that she was long very eager to return to the Lu clan. Qinglu, there are still more opportunities to meet in the future. Don't pester your elder sister Muyen anymore. Then elder sister Muyen, you have to take care and come visit me often when you have time. Yi Qinglu said with a pursed mouth. Lu Muyen scraped her nose and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'll visit you when I'm free." Afterwards, she exchanged a few words with Shifeng and Mu Yi, then rode on Bingji and left Luoxi City, heading towards the imperial capital of Yinzhou Kingdom. Together with her were also Yin Lan and Ling Fei Yang. Translated product by May Arcum True One. To bring someone back to meet parents in China is basically to say to the parents, this person will be my wife/husband to be lol. And LMAO, the ancestor already thinking of her as their future Han boy's wife. Haha. 2 basically good things shouldn't be given to others. 3 if your elbow turns the wrong way, you're helping outsiders instead of family or friends, etc. For all good things must come to an end. Chapter 170. Who said this young miss was dead? The imperial capital of Yinzhou Kingdom. The news that Lu Muyen had fallen in the glacial mountain range was widely spread by those who schemed. In addition, she hadn't appeared for more than a month, so the entire Yinzhou Kingdom thought that she was already dead. Many of the Lu clan's political enemies were secretly watching a joke. However, it was just that in the more than a month, the Lu clan hadn't hung any white silk, nor announced Lu Muyen's death, which made them all feel that the Lu clan was just deceiving themselves. The Lu clan's father and son constantly had a gloomy expression every time they went to the imperial court. Whoever they pointed to, the person would immediately be shelled one. Wasn't this precisely the reaction of having lost a granddaughter/daughter? On this day, the martial hall of the empire's imperial palace was filled with officials, together with some pupils from distinguished clans, and some students from the Empire Academy. Today was a very important day. The list of entries for the Tianling Continent Tournament for hegemony was announced today. The younger generation of pupils were all bright-eyed. Even if they couldn't participate, they were very much looking forward to such a grand event. The students who participated in the Glacial Mountain Range trials were all looking forward to it. If they could represent Yinzhou Kingdom to participate in the Continental Tournament for hegemony, It would not only place light on their clan's face, but their opportunities would also be infinite. As an emperor, Yun Tianxin naturally wanted to express his compliments and encouragements first. The Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony is held every 20 years. In another 2 months, the tournament will begin. This time, our Yinzhou Kingdom has obtained 6 entry quotas. These, Yun Tianxin said a bunch, then finally said, "Now let the Imperial teacher announce the 6 participants for the Continental Tournament for Hegemony." Imperial teacher Yin Song stood up in the main position with a serious face, and didn't say any nonsense either, directly announcing the list of participants. The participants of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony this time are Yun Zmo, Yun Lan, Fu Chen, Lu Mubai, Qi Yixian, and Lu Muyan. Wow! Everyone present was stunned. The first 5 people participating in the tournament for Hegemony, they felt that it was deserving. But what was this about Lu Muyan? How could a dead person participate in a tournament? What's more, even if she wasn't dead yet, wasn't she trash? She shouldn't even be qualified to participate in such a grand event, right? Imperial teacher, isn't Lu Muyan dead? Why is her name on the list of participants? An official took a step out at Gu Yenkai's signal. Except, before Yin Song even spoke, a strong palm of wind swept in from the hall's gate and slapped the official straight on the face. Pa! Before anyone could figure out the situation, a clear and pleasant female voice sounded. Who said this young miss was dead? A dog can't spit out ivory too. You deserve a beating. Immediately, they saw a light purple-clothed, peerlessly beautiful, and otherworldly Lu Muyan walk into the martial hall with Yin Lan. You're presumptuous. The official who was slapped by Lu Muyan covered his face as he stood up and pointed to her while glaring. Lu Muyan sneered. If you don't put away your claws, then this young miss will break it. During this period of time, the Lu clan had always kept a low profile, and these damn things often provoked them. Especially this Gu Yuan Kai's dog who would bark from time to time. She didn't mind being arrogant and trash him. You wildly arrogant child. The official originally wanted to point at Lu Muyan and curse her, but after being swept over by her cold and stern gaze, he withdrew his hand unconsciously. With resentment in his eyes, he knelt down in front of Yun Tianxin and burst into tears on the spot. Your Majesty, this old official was slapped in public by an ignorant little girl, losing all face. This old official won't live anymore. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, then just go die. Lu Muyan said slovenly. The official who was still complaining tearfully chalked for a moment, then howled again. Rebelling, she's also rebelling. But his words only just fell when Lu Zhantian twisted his collar and threw him out the hall. Too loud. The behavior of the two made everyone here unable to resist wiping their sweat and sigh inwardly. The behavior of the grandfather and granddaughter was a bit too domineering and arrogant. Your Majesty, how can Lu Muyan's arrogant and domineering behavior qualify to participate in the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony? What if she provoked people who shouldn't be provoked and bring infinite trouble to the empire? A sly smile flashed by Gu Yuan Kai's lips as he stood up respectfully to persuade Yun Tianxin. Hearing his words, many people's minds also began thinking. Lu Muyan indeed offended people too easily, and if they were able to pull her down the horse, then maybe their own pupils could obtain an entry position. So they all agreed. Gu Yuan Kai's chubby face maintained a smile, but his eyes were cold and grim. The Lu clan's girl actually came back alive. He absolutely couldn't let her participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Lu Muyan didn't hide the ridicule on her lips, and merely just looked around at the people in the higher positions. If they defended Gu Yuan Kai, then don't expect her to take out anything good to subsidize. The reason why she was so arrogant today was actually to test the Imperial family. She was going to participate in the Tianling Continent's tournament for hegemony soon, so she sure didn't want to help an empire that couldn't protect her family. Yun Tianxin naturally also saw Lu Muyan's expression of ridicule, and his heart skipped a beat. This girl's temper sure was big, but such arrogance and domineering were better than the insidious cunning of Gu Yuan Kai's entire family. Zhen is not responsible for selecting the list of participants. If you have any questions, go ask Imperial teacher. Yin Tianchen smiled gently and immediately pushed the matter out. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes. This paternal uncle-in-law really was a slippery head. But as an emperor, him stepping forth was indeed not better than the Imperial teacher coming forward. Lu Muyan is a participant personally listed by Imperial ancestor. If you have any objections, go to the Imperial Pavilion Hall. Yin Song sneered, and his gaze swept over the few people who had hopped out and was jumping about, noting them down. He naturally knew that Imperial noble concubine, Gu secretly poisoned emperor, and he abhorred them bitterly. If it weren't that they had some reasons to keep them alive, then the Imperial family probably would have long searched and confiscated the Gu clan's property. Yet they still dared to take the lead in causing trouble. They truly were vermin of the empire. No one expected Lu Muyan to actually be a person chosen specifically by the Imperial ancestor. The faces of those who jumped about changed a few times, and they didn't dare to make a sound anymore. Gu Yuankai's eyes were filled with gloom, but he didn't say much more. The ancestor was a very ruthless person who wouldn't allow anyone to refute him. If they ruined their whole plan simply for this girl, Lu Muyan, then the loss outweighed the gains. But even if they didn't dare to object again, there were a lot of people who were unwilling to accept Lu Muyan, especially the younger generation who didn't obtain a place. Many felt that Lu Muyan had only obtained this place by relying on her family background, and they were terribly sour about it. Lu Muyan took all these people's gazes in, then said leisurely, I know that some people refused to accept that I was selected to participate in the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony, and I don't want the Lu clan to be gossiped about. So right now, I accept any challenge from those who satisfy the requirements to participate in the tournament for Hegemony. Whoever wins me, then my place will be yours. She wanted a just and honorable place, and didn't want the Lu clan to be slandered after she left. Wow! This little girl from the Lu clan really was too arrogant. This was the feeling that many people had at this time. But those who watched the show naturally hoped that it would continue to develop in such a way. While the people who were friends with the Lu clan kept signaling with their eyes to Lu Zhantian and Lu Mou. Wasn't your family's girl a bit too stupid? Her place was already set. So what was she doing accepting challenges? Lu Zhantian revealed gratification in his eyes and laughed loudly. Good. As expected of my granddaughter. Yenner, beat all those who have poor eyesight flat to the ground. Just don't toy them to death. The crowd was in utter chaos from the Storm 3. At this time, they also understood why Lu Muyan was so bold and arrogant. So it turned out that it was all learnt from her grandfather. Translated product by May Arkham True. One more colloquial. Meaning that someone is bombarded with curses or criticisms or anything negative. Usually used comedically. To an idiom. So basically, a filthy mouth can't utter decent language. Or, what do you expect from a dog but bark? They wouldn't be able to produce expensive ivory. 3 more a colloquial saying meaning they were so shocked and confused by the development, it was like a storm had passed through, and everyone is disoriented. Chapter 171. Obtaining the entry place justly and honorably. Yin Tian. Chen furrowed his brows slightly, and sighed inwardly that the little girl was too swayed by personal feelings. Many of those pupils in the younger generation had hidden their strengths, but their age was a little on the older side, so they weren't selected to participate in the Glacial Mountain Range trial. After all, although the age of the participants for the competition couldn't exceed 30 based on the rules, but if one exceeded 25, then there wasn't much potential to raise. It would be a pity if Lu Girl really lost her place because of this. Yin Song just happened to be the opposite. Not only did he not show concern, but his eyes were filled with appreciation, and said to Yin Tianchen, Lu Girl made an excellent choice. Talking with your fists is the ultimate rule. The Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony is a gathering of talented people from various distinguished clans and kingdoms. If Lu Girl wants to compete with those people for the top 100, but she couldn't even defeat the younger generation of Yinzhou Kingdom, then it was fine not to go. Yin Song saw Yin Tianchen's worry, so he added. Yin Tianchen thought about it, and realized it was also this principle. As her paternal uncle-in-law, he naturally hoped this girl could advance into the top 100. Lu Muyen, are your words serious? A pupil of a small clan stood up and looked at her, asking. This person appeared 27 or 8, middle phase Sword King strength, and was filled with fighting spirit. Since there was such an opportunity, who didn't want to fight for it? Lu Muyen nodded. Naturally they're serious. How about you start the challenge? After she finished speaking, she tapped her toes and flew onto a battle platform set up in the martial hall, looking as if she was saying welcome to challenge. Then please forgive this one for any offense. The person also jumped onto the platform, cupped his fists, then drew his long sword and attacked Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen didn't take out any weapons. She spread out her palm, and scorching fire lotuses floated out from her palms one by one. The temperature in the entire martial hall rose continuously. The moment the man's sword aura touched the fire lotus, it melted. The last fire lotus petals scattered and fell into the person's body instantly. The person half knelt on the ground and screamed. Several fire lotuses flew out and lifted his body, tossing him out of the battle platform. In just 2 rounds, Lu Muyen easily defeated a middle phase Sword King Sword Master, making the people present not dare to underestimate her. Of course, her strength was indeed good in the eyes of others, but this still couldn't convince everyone. People continued to challenge one by one, hopping onto the platform. If they didn't personally try to fight for the place, they all wouldn't feel convinced. It was just that even when the last person went up to challenge, Lu Muyen still wasn't forced to use a weapon. She only used elemental energy condensation and defeated all the challengers. All the challengers didn't last more than 5 rounds each with her, including a few sword masters at peak phase Sword King strength. After Lu Muyen finished the battle with more than 20 people, she still appeared relaxed and looked at the people below, hugging her arms carelessly and indolently. Are there still any who wants to challenge? If there's no more who wants to challenge, then I'll leave now. Gu Yuankai's face was grim, but all the pupils on the side of his clan had been sent, and they still couldn't win Lu Muyen. Those that were over 30 years old weren't qualified to challenge either, so he could only grit his teeth secretly, plotting how to get rid of her. Lu Muyen obtained her place after passing the Glacial Mountain Range trial to begin with. Since there's no one to challenge her now, then the 6 entries will be set. The Imperial Master saw that many of the younger generation below had a bitter expression and knew that they were reconciled. Seeing that no one had any more objections, Yin Song continued. The 6 of you should try your best to improve your strength in the next 2 months. No one is allowed to disturb. If anyone doesn't have eyes and goes to provoke again, they will be punished with treason. After he finished speaking, he deliberately glanced at Gu Yuankai. Gu Yuankai secretly hated within. This old damn thing. Just wait until after their plan was launched. He would definitely let them all die without a place to be buried. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After Lu Muyen's entry was confirmed, she greeted Yin Tianchen and Wanli, then went home with Lu grandfather. Girl, have you cured Yi clan's little girl and Fei Yang's illness? After returning to the Lu clan, Lu Zhantian asked Lu Muyen as soon as he sat down. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow, raised her chin and said proudly, Only of course. Just look at whose granddaughter she is. You stinky girl. I praise you a little and you become smug. Grandfather rolled his eyes at her, but he couldn't hide the smile on his face. Well, didn't I learn all this from you, my respected grandpa? Lu Muyen said with a smile. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang also came back with me. Where's he? Lu Zhantian also liked Ling Fei Yang very much. He went to visit an old friend, and will come home later. As soon as she came back, she heard that the list of participants for the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony was announced today, so she hurried over. The people in charge of the Lu clan were all in the palace, so Ling Fei Yang went to the Imperial capital to visit some old friends first. Bring him to see me after he returns. Is Yenner going into seclusion? Lu Mo had a refined smile on his face. Lu Muyen thought for a bit, then said, Dad, has the private army of 100 people been selected? We've already selected 200 people long ago, just waiting for you to choose. Lu Mo said with a smile. Then take me to pick them out now. I still need to go to the palace to take a few alchemists from the Imperial family here. After refining a batch of pills, I'll prepare to go into seclusion. Lu Muyen stood up and said. All right. Then Lu Muyen selected 100 private troops to be specially raised out of the 200 people that was chosen by her dad, while the remaining 100's natural endowments also seemed pretty good. So she also had Lu Mo secretly raise them a bit. Then she went to the palace to pick up 2 grade 1 alchemists and 1 grade 2 alchemist, brought them to the Lu clan, and directly got them to refine pills. Only after the few people were able to refine the pills, she taught them did she exit the pill refining room. Her time was also very precious right now. After seeing Hua Xiao for a bit, she entered into the Lu clan's secret room and began her seclusion. She first brewed a lot of spiritual wine using the spiritual spring and the blood sacs, and only after did she start cultivating. The main purpose of the seclusion this time was to comprehend the water attribute law. She took out the belly beads of the Jiangchuan Lin fish that she obtained from the Yi clan, then held one in her hand to feel it. Bing Ji, teach me the secret method. Lu Muyen found that there was no way to absorb the essence of water in the belly bead herself, so she still had to use Bing Ji's secret method. Bing Ji had long been thinking about the belly beads Lu Muyen had, so after teaching her the secret method he laughed a few times. Little owner, can you also leave some for me? He didn't dare to threaten Lu Muyen with the secret method. Every time he thought of the appearance of the human-eating blood thornvine king, when he was madly beaten by little owner, he would have lingering fears. It was still more practical to use the strategy of currying favor with. Lu Muyen knocked his head with a knuckle, grabbed a handful of belly beads and tossed it aside. You won't have none, do I look that stingy? How's that possible? Little owner is the most generous and straightforward. If anyone dares to say that you're stingy, I'll be the first to beat them. Bing Ji picked up a belly bead and swallowed it, saying with a flattering smile. Mo Yen felt that he was unable to look directly at him, so he turned around, jumped towards a corner, and began to cultivate alone. While Lu Muyen rose her strength, they couldn't relax either. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at Bing Ji, sycophant. After she finished speaking, she picked up a belly bead again and started refining it using Bing Ji's secret method. Sure enough, the sliver of blue water essence in the bead was sucked into her body little by little and circulated in her dantian. Come true. Chapter 172. Refine Natal Magic Tool. A month passed in a hurry. Lu Muyen, who was in seclusion in the secret room the entire time, opened her black star-like eyes. Looking at the belly beads that had been refined in front of her, an arc rose on her lips. Bing Ji's secret method indeed was useful. After refining hundreds of belly beads, a few more traces of blue gaseous substances appeared in her dantian in her body, hidden within the green sea of fog. She also comprehended the water elemental law to a new height. Although she couldn't use it as freely as the fire element, but she could also achieve the condensation state. Aren't you going to refine your natal magic tool? Mo Yen asked lightly when he saw Lu Muyen open her eyes. He had heard Lu Muyen say that she competed for the Heavenly Frost golden crystal to use to refine her natal magic tool. But it had been so long, and he still hadn't seen her do it. So he was very puzzled. Didn't her chances increase if she refined her natal magic tool before going to the continental tournament for hegemony? In this month, with the help of Lu Muyen's pills, he also advanced to Tier 6, completely suppressing Bing Ji. Lu Muyen sighed and shook her head. The Heavenly Frost golden crystal is just one of the main materials. I want to refine a 9 attribute natal magic weapon, so I can't make it easily. 9 attributes. Surprise flashed across Mo Yan's eyes. Bing Ji, who was currently cultivating, also opened his eyes and looked at Lu Muyen. There were also magic tools with 9 attributes in this world. A 9 attribute natal magic tool of metal. Wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, darkness. Lu Muyen smiled. The Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal is the metal attribute material, so the refined magic tool would only contain the metal attribute. What are you going to do with the 9 attribute natal magic tool? Don't tell me you can use it? A brightness rose in Mo Yan's deep eyes. Lu Muyin raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, "That's only of course. Otherwise, have I gone senseless and silly after eating too much to refine a 9 attribute natal magic tool?" Bing Ji was completely stunned. Have 9 attributes? Were his ears all right? Mo Yan's black pupils constricted, asking, for the first time ever, in a tone of disbelief, "You can comprehend 9 types of elemental energy attributes in this world?" Wrong. Lu Muyin shook her finger. Seeing the 2 spirit pets staring at her intensely, she slowly said, "I can comprehend all attributes of elemental energy in this world." What? Mo Yin and Bing Ji exclaimed at the same time. How was that possible? In fact, Lu Muyin was also surprised when she first realized that she could comprehend all attributes of elemental energy in this world. When she was in the immortal cultivation world, she was a fire attribute heavenly spiritual root, and the one she comprehended the deepest was also the fire attribute, so her current talent was indeed considered heaven-defying. It sure is the first time I've heard that someone could comprehend all the attributes in this world. Mo Yin didn't doubt what Lu Muyin said. He understood this woman, and she wouldn't bother to lie. Bing Ji also nodded. Me too. Owner, you're too abnormal and monstrous. I'm just telling you guys, but you're not allowed to leak it out. Lu Muyin looked at Bing Ji when she said this. This stinky bird's mouth was the loosest. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. Little owner, I'm very clear about what I can say and what I shouldn't say. Don't be so distrustful of me. All right. I'll trust you this once. If you dare tell anyone, I'll pluck out all your feathers. In reality, Lu Muyin knew that Bing Ji generally wouldn't go out and randomly spread the secret, but she couldn't resist warning him. If high-level powerhouses found out that she had such talent, if she wasn't caught and taken to raise, then she'd be assassinated. It represented great inconvenience, and she was afraid of inconvenience the most. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Until when will you be able to gather the 9 materials of different attributes and refine your natal magic tool? Mo Yin said disapprovingly. Don't forget that you're going to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony soon, which is a gathering place for geniuses. You lose an advantage without a magic tool. I've considered everything you've thought of. It's not as if I'm not prepared to refine it. It's just that for the magic tool I want to refine, I naturally have to choose the best. This 9 attribute magic tool can be refined separately, then each can also be combined to use. Lu Muyin paused, then continued. The Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal is the main material, but I still need 2 auxiliary materials. I've already asked the people from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to help find it, and there should be news these few days. You'll begin refining after you obtain the 2 auxiliary materials? Mo Yin actually wanted to see just how this woman refined tools. Although he often listened to her explain to Hua Xiao, but he had never seen her perform it herself. That's of course. Let's go to the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to have a look. Lu Muyin stood up. The 2 spirit pets leapt onto her shoulders. Then she headed out. After going to the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, she happened to meet Elder Yi. And as expected from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, that was the largest and most powerful chamber of commerce on the continent. It took only 1 month to find the 2 very rare spars she wanted. After Lu Muyin paid the bill, she took all the refining materials and rode on Bing Ji to the blazing mountain range. The volcano where she and Ming Xiu met last time was very rich in geothermal heat, and it was just right to assist in refining. This time, she also brought Hua Xiao. Master, your Tier 6 Ice Luan Mount really is so cool. Hua Xiao sat on Bing Ji with a bit of envy and pride in his eyes. His little master was just awesome. Lu Muyin chuckled. Don't worry. In the future, master, I will also help you subdue a cool flying mount for you to play with. Master, you're truly so kind to me. Hua Xiao just began to flatter her when he was stopped by Lu Muyin. We've arrived, she said, pointing to the mountain range ahead. Right now, every day, her ears would suffer great torment from Bingji and Huashao's flattering. It truly was enough. After entering the very bottom layer of the volcano, Lu Muyen stopped by a magma river with the highest temperature. She took out all the materials she wanted to refine and prepared to refine her natal magic tool. Master, do you need me to help with anything? Huashao had an expression filled with excitement. He could finally watch little master in action. Lu Muyen waved her hand dismissively. No need. This time, I brought you here mainly for you to watch. You just need to be quiet. Yes, I definitely won't disturb little master. Lu Muyen nodded. Then after adjusting herself to her peak condition, she picked up the spars on the ground piece by piece, holding them in her hands. Then a cluster of gorgeous purple gold flames emerged from her palm. This is actually spirit flame. Huashao stared at the purple gold flame in Lu Muyen's hand without blinking and couldn't help but exclaim. Lu Muyen raised her head and glanced at him. Shut up, don't make a fuss. It was the biggest taboo to be distracted while refining. Yes, I promise not to speak again. Huashao hurriedly covered his mouth. With a thought, Lu Muyen's purple gold flame quickly wrapped the orange-colored spar that was in her hand, then refined it little by little. Then Lu Muyen placed the refined liquid into a container that had been prepared long ago, and continued to refine the second spar. As the geothermal heat here was very intense, the spar liquid she had refined wouldn't re-solidify. Time passed bit by bit. Lu Muyen continuously refined the spars placed on the ground. Only when the last piece of heavenly frost golden essence was refined, did she stop her movements and rest quietly. After adjusting her boda's condition to its peak state, her eyes sharpened, and she began to prepare to congeal. Chapter 173. Teleport to the assembly point 10 days later. Within the magma river before Lu Muyen, there were 10 little golden-colored swords like thin wings lined up in a row, gradually congealing within the magma that tumbled again and again. When the 10 little swords let out a humming sound, Lu Muyen's eyes filled with joy. After imprinting a few Taoist seals, she said one word. Collect. As soon as her words fell, the little swords in the magma river flew up one by one, merging in midair, and finally condensing into a thin and sharp longsword, carrying a pressure that only a divine weapon would possess. With a shoo, it landed in Lu Muyen's hands. Lu Muyen held the longsword without inserting any elemental energy. She just swung it hard at a rock in the distance with some strength, and a golden sword aura spontaneously burst out, instantly splitting the flame rock that was as hard as iron into countless fragments. Huashao swallowed his saliva. Since the first day when Lu Muyen began to refine her natal magic tool, he had been completely immersed in her world of refining, and it was also the first time he had seen a magic tool that could be refined without a cauldron, only using spirit flame. Of course, although Lu Muyen used the natural underground heat source as a cauldron, but her refining technique was very unique and novel. Each process was simply perfectly outstanding, allowing him to benefit greatly. It could even be said that the golden-colored longsword in Lu Muyen's hand was the best magic tool he had ever seen. Master, this longsword of yours has probably surpassed a spirit treasure already, and has become a saint tool, right? Huashao felt the natural pressure on the longsword and asked. Magic tools were divided into spirit tools, spirit treasures, saint tools, saint treasures, divine tools, and divine treasures. Saint tools were magic tools that were even crazily contended for by high-level powerhouses on this continent, so one could well imagine how precious it was. About right. But the magic tool I refine can be upgraded and nurtured as my cultivation base increases. Lu Muyen caressed the longsword in her hand with satisfaction. What? Can magic tools can also be upgraded? Huashao asked in disbelief. Lu Muyen said with a smile. It's just that you're ill-informed. When you become a grade 4, grade 5 smith, then you'll naturally be able to come into contact with these things. She dared to be certain that Tianling continent also had magic tools that could be upgraded, but it was just that Huashao hadn't come across it. That's true. I'll go out for a wander when I have the opportunity. Ever since following Lu Muyen, Huashao's vision had also broadened a lot, And he no longer only wanted to be the most powerful smith in the eastern region. Instead, he wanted to become a renowned smith on the entire Tianling continent. Lu Muyen patted his shoulder and said, "You have good talent. You'll definitely soar into the sky one day." This point she still believed. "Thank you, master, for your teachings." Towards Lu Muyen, Hua Xiao respected and was grateful to from the bottom of his heart. If it were another master, it was simply impossible that they would let him watch them refine their natal magic tool. Lu Muyen not only let him observe and attempt to fathom it, but also gave some explanations during critical moments when refining the weapon, which helped him learn a lot of tricks. "Alright, don't be emotional now." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. "When you go back, use the methods I taught you and practice more. The magic tools for the 100 people of the private army will be left to you. You must at least refine a low-grade spirit tool." "Yes, I'll definitely finish refining it all before Master returns from the Continental Tournament for Hegemony," Hua Xiao replied. "It's fine, you don't need to hurry either, just refine slowly." Taking a look at the time of day, Lu Muyen used her mental energy to contact Bing Ji, who had already run out to wander. Bing Ji had a temperament where he just couldn't sit still, and he was a demonic beast with both water and ice attributes to begin with. He disliked hot places the most, so as soon as Lu Muyen began to refine her weapon, he slipped out. A day later, Lu Muyen returned to the imperial capital of Yinzhou Kingdom and went directly to the Lu clan. "Stinky girl, you still know to return." Lu Zhantian seized Lu Muyen, who had just returned, and blew his beard. "Come and read on our website, Wuxia World site." "Thanks," Lu Muyen said with a smile. "Wasn't it because I went out to refine my natal magic tool? Did the refining succeed?" "Of course." Lu Muyen took out the soft sword around her waist and handed it to Lu Zhantian. Lu Mou and Lu Mubai also stepped forward for a look. The magic tool she refined could be changed into several forms at will, and she also used an array to conceal the aura of the Heavenly Frost golden essence. Currently, the sword body was golden colored, but it was impossible to tell what material it was made of. "Good sword." Lu Zhantian swung the longsword a few times and couldn't help but admire when he heard the sound of breaking air around him. Lu Muyen said with a smile, "Of course. Stinky girl, you and Mubai have to be careful this time when you leave." Lu Zhantian was filled with worry and pride. "Don't worry, Grandpa, elder brother, and I will definitely give you a pleasant surprise." Lu Mou caressed Lu Muyen's head and said warmly, "It doesn't matter if there are no pleasant surprises. As long as you two come back safe and sound, it will be the best pleasant surprise." Lu Muyen felt a warm current in her heart, her face filled with smiles. "Dad, don't worry either. We'll definitely come back alive. By the way, has the Gu clan been doing anything recently?" Lu Muyen had always been on guard against the Gu clan, but right now, 1, she didn't have time to clean them up, and 2, the opportunity hadn't come yet. Lu Mou furrowed his brows and said, "Gu Yuankai sent Gu Yen ran away before you came back. Euphemistically, it said she's going to recuperate, but I just don't think it's that simple. After I leave, you must be wary of the Gu clan. I just constantly feel that they have unmentionable secrets." Lu Muyen reminded, "As for Gu Yanran's matter, there would always be a time where the water subsides and the rocks emerge. Don't worry, we've always been sending spies to keep an eye on the Gu mansion, and the Imperial family is also vigilant about the Gu clan." Lu Mou said with a smile, "Your important task right now is to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony. Leave the rest to us." Grandpa, Dad, and Mom also take care." After another 10 days of seclusion, the Imperial family sent someone to bring Lu Muyen and Lu Mubai to the Imperial Palace, prepared to send them to participate in the tournament. Yun Song looked at the 6 people standing in front of him with gratification on his face and encouraged them. "The 6 of you are the hope of our Yinzhou kingdom, and also the key in determining the future strength of our kingdom. I hope that the 6 of you can unite and unanimously fight against outsiders and rush into the top 100. "We will," the several people promised. "All right, I believe in you all." Yun Song then explained some rules of the Continental Tournament of Hegemony. After you all arrive there, you must first. Lu Muyen and the others listened to him attentively, and occasionally even expressed surprise on their face. They now had a more detailed understanding of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony. Afterwards, even the imperial ancestor of the Yun clan showed up to encourage the several people, then handed out an interspatial ring with resources within to each of them, provided by the imperial family. Only after did he disappear from the large hall again. You can only go to the battlefield of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony through a teleportation array. Each kingdom is the same. There are 10 assembly points in total, so through the teleportation array, you will all be teleported to one of the assembly points. There will be someone who is specifically in charge of the tournament, who will make arrangements for you all to enter the space of the competition field. After you go, absolutely do not go against the arrangement of the person in charge of the tournament, and you also can't fight with sword masters from other kingdoms at the assembly point, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Yun Song gave them some final instructions, then took them to the underground teleportation array in the Imperial family. He took out 100 low-quality spiritual stones and put them into the notch of the teleportation array. Seeing the figures of the 6 people disappearing in the array, Yun Song muttered to himself, "Be sure to return safely. When the truth will be revealed one day about Gu Yanran's matter. When the truth will be revealed one day about Gu Yanran's matter." Chapter 174. Continental Tournament for Hegemony start. After Lu Muyen stepped into the teleportation array, a gentle light enveloped them. Their vision blackened. Then after an unknown length of time, the several people landed onto another teleportation array. What entered the eye after exiting the teleportation array was an open ground. There were already many people gathered, but they all occupied a place to themselves, forming small groups. It could be seen that they were sword masters from different kingdoms. Let's also go find a place to rest and wait. Yun Zmo looked around, then pointed to an empty space and said, "All right." After the few people sat down, the 5 teleportation arrays in the assembly point kept flickering. Then sword masters wearing different styles of clothing walked out in groups. There sure are many people participating, and this is just one of the 10 teleportation points. Yun Lan roughly scanned the crowd within the assembly point, and there were at least several thousand people based on a visual estimation. This is a grand event of the entire continent, so it's understandable that so many people came. Qi Yixin said. Lu Muyen looked at the people who came out of the teleportation arrays, then shrugged helplessly saying, "One more thing. Their cultivation bases aren't low. I should be at the bottom again." The several people couldn't help smiling when they heard her words. Yun Lan said, "Actually, your cultivation base is a type of cover. If anyone who doesn't have eyes wants to bully you, they'd definitely kick an iron plate." After all, they all knew that although Lu Muyen was only middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but she had the ability to challenge sword monarchs. Not only is your cultivation base at the bottom, but our cultivation bases aren't at all on the top in comparison either. Yun Zmo's indifferent eyes fluctuated a few times. Among the 6, Yun Zmo had the highest cultivation base, as he had just broken through to Sword Monarch cultivation base a month ago, followed by Lu Mubai and Fu Chun, both being peak phase Sword King cultivation base. Yun Lan and Qi Yixin had both advanced to advanced phase Sword King, and only Lu Muyen remained at middle phase Sword King. During the 2 months of her seclusion, if she wasn't comprehending the water attribute law, then she was in the blazing mountain range refining her natal magic tool, so she simply had no time to cultivate. No worries, we'll be able to be ranked in the top 100 when we come out in a year's time. Lu Muyen said to the several people with a confident smile on her lips. The 5 people were also infected by her, and they all nodded in agreement. No matter what, they would work hard to enter the top 100. Only after waiting at the assembly point for 3 days did the teleportation array gradually stop, and the number of people teleporting here grew sparse. After another 2 days, the teleportation arrays completely stopped operating. Suddenly, a vortex appeared in the sky above the assembly point, and a transparent ball of light fell from it. The ball of light enveloped 5 people, including a middle-aged burly man that was their leader. As soon as the few people landed on the ground, the transparent ball of light that enveloped them disappeared automatically, and the burly man swept the surroundings with a sharp gaze. Suddenly, the entire space was so quiet that even if a needle fell to the ground, one could hear it. The man withdrew his gaze in satisfaction and said slowly, "I am the person in charge of assembly point number 8. Next, I will issue an identity tablet. Please keep it well. If you lose it, you will be disqualified from the competition." After he finished speaking, he gestured with a wave to the 4 people behind him. The 4 of them took out an interspatial ring each, and brought out several piles of different colored jade tablets from it. Immediately following, the burly man took out a few pieces of jade slips. The 5 of them channeled their elemental energy into the jade slips, and the jade slips instantly flew into the air, landing above the pile of jade tablets. A few beams of light fell from the jade slip, and those jade tablets spontaneously flew out in different directions. Finally, the jade tablets fell into the hands of everyone at the assembly point, as if having recognized their owners. The burly man continued to speak after seeing that the jade tablets were distributed. "You each spray a breath of essence onto the jade tablet, and check whether the words displayed on the jade tablets are your kingdom's name and your own name. If there is a mistake, report it to us immediately." Lu Muyen picked up the jade tablet and sprayed a breath of essence. Sure enough, the words Yenzhou Kingdom, Lu Muyen were instantly displayed on the smooth jade tablet. She had to sigh with amazement at the power of the organizer. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing that all the participant numbers were distributed correctly, the burly man said again, "I believe you all have a question inside. Why the jade tablets in your hands have different colors?" Lu Muyan's group of 6 were all holding red-colored jade tablets, while there were people holding jade tablets of various other colors at the assembly point. They all had questions inside. Why there were jade tablets of different colors distributed, Yin Song didn't say at all before they came. As you all know, the rules for each continental tournament for hegemony will change, and the biggest change this time is the color of the jade tablets in your hands. I think you all know that participating in the continental tournament for hegemony means that you will all be sent to an independent space. The mission in the preliminary round is to kill demonic beasts in the space. The more you kill, the more likely you are to enter the second round. The previous competitions were all based on quantity, and this time, the first round is still the same. Then why do you have different colored jade tablets in your hands? Well, that involves the second round of the competition. The second round of the competition is a battle for jade tablets. People who hold tablets of the same color cannot compete with each other within a specified time frame in the beginning, but they can snatch jade tablets from others with different colors, regardless of life or death. Don't think it's strange. This is simply the law of survival on the path of the strong. By the way, let me remind you that there are 7 colors of jade tablets in total: red, yellow, blue, green, cyan, orange, purple. Those who are qualified to participate in the third round not only must have snatched the most jade tablets, but also have all 7 colors. Now I will give you a quarter of an hour to ask questions. If you have any questions, ask them quickly, then we will send you to the independent competition space." The burly man added lightly. After he finished speaking, a person raised their hand in the open grounds and asked, "May I ask, Senior, when we're competing for the qualification for the third round, is there a requirement for the number of jade tablets for each of the 7 colors? There must be 10 purple jade tablets, 30 orange jade tablets, 50 cyan jade tablets, and there are no requirements for the jade tablets of other colors." The burly man replied, "Does the color of the jade tablets have any meaning?" Another person raised their hand and asked, "Of course. The color represents the strength of each kingdom. People holding purple-colored jade tablets represents that they are from a superpower. Following this analogy, the people holding red-colored jade tablets are from some small kingdom of no standing." Lu Muyen looked at the red-colored jade tablet in her hand, and the corner of her lips twitched. So it turned out that not only was her cultivation base at the bottom, but even the kingdom she represented was at the bottom. Senior, could we only start snatching jade tablets in the second round? The first round of the competition is 3 months. In the last 10 days of the 3 months, you can start to snatch jade tablets. After all, there will be some people who will be eliminated because they didn't kill enough demonic beasts. Before then, you are not allowed to snatch jade tablets indiscriminately. Otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Don't take any chances. As long as you violate the rules, you will definitely be disqualified from the competition by the organizer. Afterwards, a few more people asked some questions. Then the burly man stopped answering when a quarter of an hour passed. The jade tablet is not only a representation of your status, but all the rankings and information conveyed by the organizer will also be displayed on the jade tablet. You need to pay attention to it at all times. Finally, I would like to remind you all that after the first round of the competition, the top 10 people who killed the most demonic beasts will also be rewarded with jade tablets. That is, the jade tablets from those who have been eliminated, but have yet to have their jade tablets snatched, would be recovered as rewards to give. After reminding them of the last point, the burly man raised his head and shot a cyan light towards a space not far away. In an instant, the space in that area fluctuated ceaselessly, then a huge stone gate fell. The cyan light shone brilliantly, and the gate made a few rumble sounds, then gradually opened. I announce that the gate of passage number 8 for the Tianling Continent Tournament of Hegemony is officially open. You can enter in succession. Note: so me being me, I spent way too much time just trying to figure out how to translate Yu Pai, which I eventually translated as jade tablet. I don't know what you guys imagine, but if you copy and paste the Chinese characters into Google Images or Bing etc., any should show the same results. Those are basically what they are. They're basically around the size of a credit card or potentially smaller, but thicker as it's made from jade. Chapter 175. Enter competition space. As soon as the burly man's voice fell, the sword masters who were closest to the cyan light stone gate got up and rushed into it quickly one by one. Seeing this, the rest also didn't want to fall behind, and also flew towards it. Ahead, there were even people who fought for the sequence in line. Only after the burly man snorted coldly did they stop. No fighting is allowed at the assembly point, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Lu Muyen looked at the densely packed crowd ahead of them speechlessly and said to the 5, "Let's go in after they go in." "Will it be too late?" Yinlan asked. "It's not like we're going in to compete for spiritual items or treasures, so what's the hurry? There's practically no way to kill all the demonic beasts in the space that's been opened up. It's the same whether we go in early or go late." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said. Hearing her say this, the few people also felt that it was very reasonable, so they didn't get up. When the people were almost gone did they leap towards the direction of the cyan light stone gate. The burly man observed the only woman among the 6, touched his chin and said softly, "Looks like her temperament is good, but her strength is just too weak." Afterwards he didn't pay much attention either. After Lu Muyen and the others entered, he closed the cyan light stone gate and left through the vortex that they had come from with the others. As soon as they landed, Lu Muyen found that they were on an uninhabited plain with many low-level demonic beasts wandering around. Yun Zmo took out the jade tablet, channeled a stream of elemental energy into it, and used his mental energy to check it. They heard from the Imperial teacher that each person's identity number tablet also depicted a general introduction and map of this space. Our current location is half a day away from the nearest city. Withdrawing his mental energy, he said to the several people, "Let's hurry up. A beast tide will appear at night. If we don't enter the city to take refuge, we'll be swallowed by the beast tide." Yunlan pressed his lips together and said. The several people didn't dispute either, and rushed in one direction. When they encountered low-level demonic beasts, they didn't kill them either. Killing demonic beasts during the preliminary round would give points, and the number of points would also be determined by the level of the demonic beast killed. That was to say, killing 100 Tier 1 demonic beasts was equivalent to killing only 1 Tier 2 demonic beast's points. So naturally there was no need to waste time and energy to deal with low-level demonic beasts. While rushing along, Lu Muyan also placed her mental energy into the Jade Tablet to read the introduction of this place. This space was birthed thousands of years ago. It had many demonic beasts and natural spiritual items. It was ultimately sealed by several almighty of Tianling continent, and became the competition grounds for the Continental Tournament for Hegemony. The main reason for choosing this place as the competition grounds for the Tournament for Hegemony was because there were so many demonic beasts here that they were running rampant. If the number wasn't controlled and limited, then if they broke through the restriction in the future and was let out, then it would become a huge disaster for the human race. It was impossible for high-level powerhouses to come here every 10 or 20 years to deliberately slaughter the demonic beasts, so they eventually came up with making this place a competition ground. In the preliminary round, participants would be required to slay demonic beasts to advance to the next round. This would not only balance the number of demonic beasts in this space, but also train the younger generation of pupils participating in the competition. Moreover, this space was also special. The demonic crystals of the demonic beasts could be directly absorbed without too many side effects, which was also a way to improve the strength of the participants. Many of the spiritual items also hadn't been completely taken away by high-level powerhouses. 3,000 years ago, the organizers prohibited all high-level powerhouses from setting foot here. Only those who participated in the competition every 20 years were allowed to enter. All the spiritual items in this space could be obtained as long as the participating talents had the opportunity, and they didn't need to hand it over to the organizers. This was also why numerous people wanted to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, even if their final ranking couldn't reach the top 100, but as long as they had fortuitous encounters and found a few spiritual items to take back, then they definitely wouldn't suffer a loss. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, of course, there were advantages, but there were naturally disadvantages as well. There were all kinds of demonic beasts lurking here, both high and low level, and every night there would also be a beast tide that appears. If they couldn't escape to the refuge cities the organizers built, then they might be devoured by demonic beasts. Moreover, the danger wasn't only from demonic beasts. It wasn't uncommon for humans to kill each other if they simply disagreed, especially situations where sword masters from big kingdoms bullied and oppressed sword masters from small kingdoms being a common occurrence. Snatching demonic beast crystal cores, and such incidents were acted out even daily. The organizers didn't stop these behaviors. As long as one entered the competition grounds of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, life and death was in one's own hands. Therefore, there were countless prodigies who had fallen in this space each time. Of course, the organizers didn't care about the fighting between sword masters, but people were not allowed to seek personal revenge after leaving here. For example, if a sword master from a middle-ranking kingdom killed a genius of a superpower kingdom, then after leaving here, the royal family, or the distinguished clans of the superpower kingdom, were not allowed to use force to seek revenge from that middle-rank kingdom. If there wasn't such a regulation, then the entire Tianling continent's kingdoms would definitely become involved due to the killings in the competition, and it would become chaos. Of course, not allowing revenge didn't mean that those big kingdoms wouldn't do evil and suppress, so the sword masters of middle and small kingdoms who entered this space rarely took the initiative to provoke people from large kingdoms. Ultimately, opportunities and the danger of death coexisted in this space. Whether one lived or died all depended on one's luck and ability. Under Mo Yan's caution, the 6 of them avoided many low-level demonic beasts. If those Tier 3 and above appeared, they would kill a bit, but the rest were all bypassed. Half a day later, they arrived in front of a city, which was on the borders of this plain, and was backed by a large mountain. looking at the towering blue-black city wall infused with black iron. Yun Zmo and the others' expressions couldn't help but change. This city wall is actually made from black iron. Could it be to withstand the demonic beast attacks? Qi Yixian couldn't help sucking in a breath. Lu Muyin approached and saw many claw marks left on the blue-black iron city wall. Look at the claw marks on the city wall. No wonder this is a refuge city. Otherwise it would have long been overwhelmed by the beast tides. The several people also discovered the imprints on the city wall, and sighed inwardly that they had underestimated the difficulty of the preliminary round before. Let's go and have a night's rest first, and inquire about news along the way. Yun Zmo saw that the city gate was open, and many young people with varying styles of clothing were walking in. They also entered the city gate. Within the city gate, it wasn't as desolate as imagined, but instead very lively, and there was even a commercial street. There were inns and restaurants on both sides of the commercial street, as well as shops selling pills and spiritual herbs, magic tools, and those that purchased demonic beast corpses and crystal cores. How come there are also shops in here? Yunlan said, puzzled. At each continental tournament for hegemony, the competition will always last for more than a year. I heard that many large forces would set up shops in major refuge cities. 1. They could make money, and 2. They can buy a large number of demonic beast corpses and crystal cores, spiritual items and spiritual herbs, and the like, to bring outside and use it for themselves or make a lot of money. Yun Zmo's master was the imperial ancestor of Yinzhou Kingdom, so he knew more than others. So that's how it is. These large forces sure know how to make money. The supply for pills here definitely wouldn't meet the demand. Lu Muyin rubbed her chin, and her eyes were filled with light. Seeing the sparkle in her eyes, Yun Zmo said with a light smile, there will be occasional auctions held in several central cities from time to time, the scale of which is no less than the largest auction held in Yinzhou Kingdom last time. There are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Lu Muyin blinked, and the figure of the red, devilish, and flamboyant figure appeared in her mind unconsciously. Come true. Chapter 176. You're a fool. There are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Hearing that there was an auction, Lu Muyan's first thought was Ming Xiu by association. Yun Zmo nodded with a smile. If there's no accident, then it's auctions organized and held by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. It's unlikely for small forces to be able to share a bowl of porridge in this sort of tournament competition field. Then how do we know when the auctions will start? Lu Muyin guessed that Yun Zmo would know. Yun Zmo replied, our identity jade tablet will pass the news. As long as there's any event in this competition field, it will be notified through the jade tablet. So that's how it is. The organizer's power sure is strong. Lu Muyin also had to sigh. To be able to have the ability to set up an array to transmit messages in all jade tablets was not something that ordinary forces could do. The organizer is an association of many top organizations on this continent, so their strength is naturally exceptionally strong. Yun Zmo said. Lu Muyin nodded and asked, should we also find an inn to stay in? Let's find an inn to stay at first and obtain some information along the way. There was a total of 5 inns in this city, and the first 4 they walked past were all full, while there just so happened to be 4 rooms in the last one. Except for Lu Muyin, the others could live in 1 room for 2. We want these 4 rooms. Yun Zmo took out a purple crystal card and handed it to the shopkeeper. Lu Muyin swept the inn where people came and went, thinking that it was no wonder the major forces wanted to set up a commercial street in the city. The cost of a night's stay here was 10 times more expensive than the best inn outside, and there might not even be a room left. The teleportation from the assembly point into the competition space was random, and the location, after teleporting in, was also different. People from each kingdom would line up to teleport together. If they're somewhat lucky, their teleported location wouldn't be far from this city. If one was unlucky, one might have to rush a day's journey to reach the refuge city. Of course, although the teleportation was random and irregular, but it definitely would never teleport them into deep mountains and forests, or places far away from the refuge city. Guests, these are the keys to the 4 rooms, please keep it safe. The shopkeeper took out 4 keys from the counter and handed them to Yun Zmo. Before Yun Zmo even stretched out his hand, a large hand blocked him. We want these rooms. Lu Muyen furrowed her willow brows and scrutinized the 5 people who had just entered the inn and wanted to snatch their rooms. The leader was a tall, big young man with a rough appearance, exuding an aura of hostility all over his body, making people very uncomfortable. Behind him were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 women were pretty good-looking, but they revealed an arrogance as if no one could beat them, which destroyed that beauty. Among the other 2 men, one appeared feminine, while the other was smiling, but there wasn't much warmth in his eyes. Generally speaking, the 5 people didn't look like any good people at first glance. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyan's eyes, who knew that they would encounter a scene, one of their room keys being snatched right after they had just arrived at this refuge city. These are rooms we booked, and we've already paid for it. Everyone, please look for another place to book. Yun Zmo wasn't afraid of the hostile aura from the tall, big man, only saying indifferently while looking at him. As soon as the tall, big man entered the door, he heard that the inn only had the last 4 rooms, but it was unfortunate that they were a step late. Seeing that the 6 people except the leader weren't that strong, he decided to step forward, wanting to snatch the rooms. Originally he thought these people would obediently move out of the way, but he didn't expect that they would actually refuse him. This young master has taken a fancy to these 4 rooms. Ask the shopkeeper to return the money to you, so you can look for another place to book. The tall, big man had a sliver of arrogance in his eyes. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. In fact, not all sword masters could find an inn to stay at in refuge cities. Those who came late naturally couldn't stay in one, so they would all go to the several resting rooms on the city wall to meditate. Yun Zmo furrowed his brows, then moved his gaze onto Lu Muyen and the others, asking with his eyes, yield or not yield? He didn't fear these few people, but he didn't want to cause trouble on the first day. However, he couldn't swallow his anger either, so he wanted to see the attitude of his several companions. Lu Muyen glanced at the expressions of the several people, then stepped forward with a chuckle, swiftly grabbed the 4 keys from the shopkeeper's hand, and said to Yun Zmo and the others, let's go up to rest. She didn't even look at the people who wanted to snatch their rooms just now, and simply ignored them. Oh, the chick's temper sure isn't small. The tall, big man blocked their path with a bit of ruthlessness in his eyes. But we're not people who love to show pity and tender care for Jade too. Hand over the keys now and we'll spare your life. Otherwise don't blame us using ruthless methods to destroy flowers. Is that so? With your ugly appearance, you want to use ruthless methods to destroy flowers? Lu Muyen put away the keys in front of the several people and folded her arms with ridicule on her lips. Kind humans would be bullied by others. She had never been one to hand over the other cheek after one cheek was slapped. If she succumbed to such a person, then she really would have lived 2 lives in vain. Haha. The people who entered and exited the inn at this time also stopped to watch the show when they heard the 2 parties fight for the keys. Originally they thought that the weaker party would give up the rooms, but who expected that this stunning purple-clothed woman would be so headstrong? You're seeking death. The tall, big man's face was grim, and he raised his hand to give Lu Muyen a palm wind. Lu Muyen sneered, didn't move from her spot, and stretched out her right hand to greet his. Pung! The 2 palm winds collided together, and there was a sound of breaking air. The tables and chairs beside the 2 instantly shattered in numerous halves. Surprise appeared in the eyes of the tall, big man. His strength was at initial phase sword monarch, but a middle phase sword king could actually receive his palm wind, that he had put in 8/10 of his strength into, without even changing expression. The eyes of the several people behind him revealed varying expressions. Seeing that the several sets of tables and seats in the inn were all damaged by the 2 people's palm wind, the shopkeeper's expression sank, and he said, There is a notice at the entrance of the commercial street that no fighting is allowed. If you two continue to fight, when the law enforcement unit arrives, you will all be disqualified from the competition. Lu Muyan also read the notice when she entered the commercial street, but she couldn't just sit still when the tall, big man took action. She glanced at the other party with ridicule, took out a purple crystal card, then said to the shopkeeper, "I'll pay half for the loss of the tables and chairs. You ask them for the other half." Hearing her words, the audience couldn't help twitching their lips. How much did a few sets of tables and seats cost? Wasn't this woman a bit too stingy? Lu Muyin naturally also felt the speechless gazes. Seeing that the shopkeeper still didn't move, and was also looking rather speechless, she said lightly, "Even if I need to send away a beggar with money, I won't benefit a person who's unpleasant to my eyes. Hurry up and swipe my half." The tall, big man's eyes were filled with haze, but he didn't dare to fight again. He slammed his large hand down and placed a purple crystal card on the counter. "Lousy 3 will compensate everything." He noted this stingy woman down. When they leave this city, he definitely must kill this group of people. Seeing that the other party was so chivalrous, Lu Muyen took back the purple crystal card in her hand and said to the shopkeeper, "Since Asumyon wants to pretend, then you can just accept his. The tables and seats here aren't easy to buy. Remember to charge several times the price." Shouldn't it be that she rushes to pay to demonstrate her magnanimity? Lu Muyen then gave the tall, big man a "you're a fool" look, then addressed Yun Zmo and the others to leave the lobby, ignoring the grim gazes of the people behind them. Translated product by May Arkham True One Lolul. Another meaning for the word used here, Xiao Duan, is also trope. Haha. Indeed, the arrogant young master / Mrs. Trope. Too, if you just replace the word jade with women / female, then it's pretty straightforward. They want show pity or tender care for women. I just wanted to keep the translation neutral, since it's neutral in Chinese. Can be said to males as a joke too sometimes or about a man. Not common practice to say it to or about a male though, I don't think. 3. Just a reminder, lousy is just an arrogant way of self-address by men. There is somewhat of a translation for it to English, but it's kinda unfitting, so I didn't translate it. Chapter 177. The beast tide has come. When the tall, big man saw Lu Muyen cast the "you're a fool" look, his tightly clenched fists made a crack sound. Seeing the several people strutting away, the yellow-clothed woman behind the tall, big man asked with cold eyes, "Boss, well, just let them go like this?" She hated women who were more beautiful than herself, and what she loved to do most was to scratch open their faces and watch them suffer. The purple-clothed woman violated her baseline just now. She just wanted to peel that face off to make a human skin mask. There's a clear rule in the city that no fighting's allowed. Otherwise we'll be disqualified from the competition. Why else do you think they dared oppose me? I'll see how they'll be arrogant after leaving the city. The tall big man snorted coldly. He thought inwardly that Lu Muyen and the others dared to offend his prestige, because they knew the rules of this city. A sinister smile rose on his lips. Tomorrow he would definitely make them kneel and beg for mercy. "Boss, you have to leave that woman to me." The yellow-clothed woman stroked her lips with her fingertips and said softly. The tall, big man knew her addiction and there was a smile on his grim face. "No problem. I'll give her to you after the 3 of us play around with them first." "No problem." Lu Muyen still didn't know that those people had already schemed against her, not only wanting to kill them, but also bully and humiliate her. The yellow-clothed woman even wanted to peel off her face and make a mask. Of course, even if she knew, she wouldn't have much reaction. She didn't pay attention to these people at all to begin with. After going up to the 3rd floor, Lu Muyen and Yun Zmo were in a separate room each. Fu Chen and Lu Mubai were in one room, and Qi Xian and Yun Lan were in another. After the few people cleaned up and left the inn, they went to a restaurant for dinner, and to inquire about any news. Not only were inns popular, but restaurants were the same. The private rooms had long been booked, but they didn't arrive too late either, as they found a quiet table by the window and sat down. The group of people who wanted to snatch the keys from us in the afternoon will definitely not forget this easily. When we leave the city tomorrow, we need to prepare for battle. Lu Muyen took a sip of the spiritual tea that the waiter just brought up. The spiritual tea was expensive, but it tasted average. It seemed that this year would be filled with snatching from people. They bullied people too far, and we won't just yield our keys either. So we were bound to have a fight. Qi Yixian looked at Lu Muyen with gentle eyes, softening his stern face a bit. Lu Muyen was accustomed to Qi Yixian's cold face and cold eyes. The change now really made her feel a little indescribable, but it definitely wasn't joy. When the time comes, let's just kill them. Fu Chen said with a smile on his face as he held a teacup. Lu Muyen raised her head and looked at Fu Chen, who appeared delicate with a scholarly aura, and usually felt like an invisible man, in surprise. This person rarely spoke ever since the trial in the glacial mountain range, and he basically didn't say a word when they entered the competition space. So who knew had surprised them with his words now? One really couldn't look at a person's appearance when judging. People like Fu Chen confused people too easily. In fact, his heart was also a ruthless one. It was just dependent on who it was towards. Fu Chen, who knew that a taciturn person like you would also have a moment where you'd be so domineering. Lu Mubai and Fu Chen's relationship wasn't that bad, so he joked with relaxed brows. If one does not offend me, then I will not offend one. They took the initiative to provoke, so how was there reason to allow them to bully? Fu Chen replied in a refined bookish manner. Lu Muyen chuckled. That's right. And the scent of blood on those people are very strong. There were definitely many people whose lives were severed by their hands. If they dared to take the initiative to ambush us, then killing them could be considered as a good deed. Although the strength of the other party seemed to be relatively high, but the 6 of them really weren't afraid at all. After all, they all had their own means. Yun Zmo was regarded as the leader of the several people, and he didn't object to this point. In fact, the killing intent in his heart was no weaker than them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They chatted a little more, then sat quietly and listened to the conversations of the people at the tables beside them. Have you looked at the rankings on the Jade tablet? A person at a table beside them asked his companion. I haven't looked at it. What's wrong? 2 abnormal monsters have already earned more than 1,000 points, and it's only been half a day. What? That amazing. The people beside took out the Jade tablets for a look. So it turned out to be Mo Ling and Yin Jun. It's said that they are the 2 people who have the best chance to compete for the first place in this competition. Indeed, the 2 who come from superpower kingdoms not only have a very deep background, but they're also very powerful in their own right. The 2 of them are already advanced phase sword monarchs right now. During the finals, they probably have broken through to Sword Sovereign by using the resources here. There was envy and a hint of respect in this person's voice. Lu Muyen swept the Jade tablets of the few people, and found that they were all blue, indicating that they were pupils from medium-sized kingdoms. These people had been revolving their conversation around Mo Ling and Yin Jun. So Lu Muyen noted down the 2 that they kept mentioning, then focused on another table. I wonder if there'll be a beast tide coming tonight. A woman with an ordinary face asked worriedly. One of the companions replied, there shouldn't be such a coincidence, right? I heard that the beast tide usually comes every few days, or even more than 10 days. Who knows? There's nothing to worry about. As long as we don't take the initiative to leave the refuge city, even if a beast tide attacks, we wouldn't need to be afraid of being engulfed. Another said with a smile, I haven't seen a beast tide yet. I heard that the beast tide in this competition space is very ferocious. Generally, it's commanded by Tier 6 or transformation stage demonic beasts. If you go to the central areas, there will even be Tier 8 demonic beasts appearing. That's only natural. Dozens of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts aren't scary. But if thousands, tens of thousands of them attack, even if we're Sword King cultivation bases, we wouldn't be able to resist their huge numbers. Not to mention Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts are only just the front line. There are many Tier 5 or 6 demonic beasts in ambush behind. Really? No wonder the elders in the Imperial family always insisted that at night, no matter what, we must go to the refuge city to hide. So that means if we go out at night and encounter a beast tide, we'll surely die. It's true. Otherwise, why would there be refuge cities built in the competition space, each separated approximately a day's travel away? Listening to the tone of fear these people had towards the beast tide, Lu Muyen stroked the teacup in deep thought. After their meal, the several people strolled around the commercial street, and Lu Muyen once again swept up the spiritual herbs sold in the city, causing many people to cast curious glances at her. Lu Muyen, are you buying so many spiritual herbs to refine pills with? Yun Zmo found that she was simply too crazy. She basically bought all the spiritual herbs in the pill shops. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, "Otherwise I'm buying it to toss around to play with?" Yun Zmo looked at her speechlessly and said, "You've used up your money so quickly, you're not going to participate in the auctions? Let's talk about it when it's time for auctions. Money will always come again once they're used." Lu Muyen smiled vividly, her jet black eyes sparkling. Just earlier in the restaurant, she heard about the beast tide. She just so happened to have a few pill formulas that were made from demonic beast crystal cores. These spiritual herbs weren't considered too expensive either. The most important thing was that it wasn't available outside, so eventually she could make a lot of money by selling these pills she refined. Hearing her confidence, with lively brilliance all over her body, Yun Zmo smiled lightly and said no more. After returning to the inn, Lu Muyen quickly entered the state of cultivation. The spiritual force here was several times denser than that outside. Her cultivation base was indeed a little low, so she had to hurry up and improve. In the middle of the night suddenly, a few roars of demonic beasts broke the original calm of the city. Lu Muyen opened her eyes that were filled with fighting intent. The beast tide has come. Roar, roar. The sound of the beast roars came wave after wave, from far to near, filling the ears of everyone in the city. Lu Muyen looked at the extremely excited Bingji. "You're this happy that the beast tide has come? Of course. This means that I can refine a lot of crystal cores." Bingji spoke open as if drooling. Lu Muyen held her forehead. This was just a foodie. Like humans, the laws of survival among demonic beasts were even crueler. The weak becoming meat for the strong was their truth in survival. Refining and absorbing the crystal cores of demonic beasts couldn't only improve the strength of humans, but also the strength of demonic beasts. If they absorbed the crystal cores of demonic beasts with a pure bloodline, then they even had the chance to evolve. Mo Yen, are there many high-level demonic beasts coming this time? Lu Muyen's mental energy was still in a dormant state, so she couldn't detect other parties' auras if they were too far away. Mo Yan's eyes were light. Not much. The leaders are a few Tier 6 demonic beasts. Leave those Tier 6 demonic beasts to me. Bingji exuded a fighting intent all over his body. He hadn't moved his muscles and bones for a long time. Although Tier 6 demonic beasts weren't enough for him to play with, but hell make do. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Later, you'll stay there and not move. Why? Bingji stretched his neck and asked. First, the demonic beast crystal cores Tier 6 and below is of no use to you at all. Don't forget that you're a Tier 8 demonic beast. Even if you are suppressed by Ming Xiao to a Tier 6 cultivation base, but it doesn't change your strength of a high level. 2. Once you participate in the battle, you'll inevitably reveal your true form. I still don't want to reveal that I have an Icelwan spirit pet so quickly. So today, just watch our performance obediently. Lu Muyen's brows concealed a deep smile. Bingji choked, and actually couldn't find any words to refute. He huffed. All right, I won't go up this time. But when we encounter high-level demonic beasts, you must let me fight. The demonic beast crystal cores above Tier 6 was still useful to him. If he could kill a Tier 8 demonic beast, then his cultivation base could be greatly improved. All right, but we'll talk about it when you can actually win in a fight against them. Roar, roar. The beast roar shook the heavens and moved the earth. And one could even feel trembles in the city. They're here, let's go take a look. Lu Muyin opened the door and quickly joined Yun Ziemo and the others, then flew towards the city wall. There were many people flying in the air, all of them having the same purpose, and all arrived on the city wall. After landing on the city wall, Lu Muyin swept her gaze down, borrowing the light of the moonlight pearls inlaid on the city wall, and saw the dense number of demonic beasts rushing towards them not far away, roaring and clamoring. Is this the beast tide? The number really is huge. Many sword masters sighed with amazement. Seeing the strong fighting intent in Lu Muyin's eyes, Lu Mubai said, "Yin'er, be careful later." "Don't worry, eldest brother." Lu Muyin tossed him a joyous smile. "This time we'll be able to have a satisfactory fight." Some sword masters who had met Lu Muyin at the inn at noon were speechless when they heard her say that. What kind of woman was this? Was she not afraid at all? Didn't she see that many female sword masters around were looking like little birds relying on people? All the sword masters in the city hear the order. You are not allowed to stay below. All must go up to the city wall to withstand the beast tide. Anyone who disobeys the order will be immediately disqualified from the competition. Suddenly, a mechanical voice resounded above the entire city, carrying with it a dense pressure. "The organizer sure is a little interesting," Lu Muyin said with a smile. "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." "Thanks, are we going to take action?" Yunlan looked at Lu Muyin and the others asking. Lu Muyin had long been waiting for this. Of course. Killing demonic beasts in a beast tide can get us more points. So why should we go to some forest and kill them one by one? Besides, the demonic beast crystal cores obtained by killing the demonic beasts can also be directly refined and absorbed. Only idiots won't act. She added. Behind her just so happened to stand the 5 people who they fought with for the keys in the inn during the day. Among them, the yellow-clothed woman sneered. "I had thought that the arrogance during the daytime was because you had something to rely on. But in fact, you're just an idiot." Everyone wanted to get more points, and also knew that if they killed demonic beasts during beast tides, they'd gain points quickly. But the problem was, these demonic beasts came in groups after groups, and they would definitely die if they entered. This woman was just an idiot with a tough mouth. Someone just likes to talk big. Why do you need to expose it? The pink-clothed woman beside her replied with a look of disdain. Lu Muyin turned her head and glanced at the few people coldly, but ignored them. Killing demonic beasts was the important task right now. The several people were swept by her cold gaze, and their hearts couldn't help but skip a beat. When she turned back around, they were then left in a bad mood, and kept making indirect curses and criticisms. There was a flash of killing intent in Lu Mubei's eyes, but Lu Muyin stopped him. "It's just a few jesters jumping about. Just let them jump around for the night." It was useless to argue now, and they couldn't fight in the city either. It would be fine if they just waited until they left tomorrow, and killed to their heart's content. The several people also understood what she meant, so they curbed their killing intent one after another. At the same time, they also felt the killing intent and resentment from the other party. Tomorrow, they really needed to cut the weeds and remove the roots. Roar! Hundreds of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts rushed under the city wall quickly and roared a few times. Some demonic beasts with good jumping ability leapt onto the edge of the city wall. "They've jumped up, kill." The sword masters who were closer to the edge of the city wall quickly took out their magic tools to kill. Because the demonic beasts who leapt up were all Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts, there wasn't much threat to the sword masters, whose minimum cultivation base was Sword King strength. After cleaning up the demonic beasts on the city wall, many people stood by on the edge of the city wall and kept brandishing all kinds of magic tools to attack the demonic beasts below. Sword auras of various colors swayed, even illuminating the night a little. Lu Muyin and the others weren't idle either. Sword auras slashed down one after the other, and the points in the jade tablet also kept increasing, but the speed was very slow. She found that killing a Tier 3 demonic beast was only 1 point, and a Tier 4 demonic beast was 2 points. She couldn't resist furrowing her brows when she remembered the conversation between those people in the restaurant. The 2 genius sword masters named Mo Ling and Yanjun got more than 1,000 points on the first day. It seemed that they had to slay quite a bit of high-level demonic beasts to have obtained it. In order to stand out in the second round of the competition, it was also important to be in the top 10 during the preliminary round. After 2 hours had passed, the bodies of countless Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts piled up below, but no one dared to go down and retrieve the crystal cores. After all, the waves of beasts were still surging, and the Tier 3 demonic beasts could no longer be seen, replaced by Tier 5 demonic beasts. Roar! Waves after waves of Tier 5 demonic beasts came from not far away, and everyone saw the densely packed shadows approaching quickly. Tier 5 demonic beasts are here. There are actually so many. Many sword masters were dumbfounded when they saw nearly 1,000 Tier 5 demonic beasts rushing towards them. Even the sword masters with Sword Monarch cultivation base revealed a grave expression. A few dozen were still easy to deal with, but with so many Tier 5 demonic beasts, even if they acted, the moment they become surrounded, if they didn't die, they'd be severely injured. Meanwhile, Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. You all be careful, I'm going to earn some points now, don't follow. After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for the other people to answer either. She tapped her toes, and her body flew out elegantly, falling straight from the city wall. Mu Yen Yen or Lu Mu Yen? Lu Mu Bai, and the others never thought that she would actually dare be so bold, and couldn't help but shout. Heavens! Has that woman gone crazy? The sword masters who saw the purple figure fall down the city wall couldn't help but exclaim. Chapter 179. Violent beauty. Lu Muyan's actions caused many sword masters on the city wall to wipe away some cold sweat. Was this not wanting her own life? It was just that the imagined scene didn't occur. Although the purple, elegant silhouette was surrounded by demonic beasts, but she wasn't torn to pieces. Instead, she waved her fists and smashed towards the demonic beast that wanted to bite her. Isn't that woman's body too strong? Yeah. Compared with Tier 5 demonic beasts, she wasn't inferior at all. This is too exaggerated. No wonder she dared to rush down. So it turns out that the toughness of her body is already comparable to that of a demonic beast. Is this still a woman? She looks so beautiful, but why is she so violent? What do you know? Compared with so many delicate beauties, such violent beauties are more pleasing to the eye. The eyes of the 5 people who held a grudge against them all revealed some haze. Obviously, they didn't expect the woman that they had just finished ridiculing to have such combat power. This was basically having been slapped on the cheek loud and clear, even more embarrassing than quarreling. This woman definitely can't be kept alive. This thought rose in the minds of the tall, big man and his companions unanimously. Their bodies simply didn't have the toughness of Lu Muyan's body. Nor was it as flexible as hers either, so they could only stand on the city wall and attack the demonic beasts that jumped up or were under the city wall, their points increasing very slowly. After Lu Muyan rushed into the group of beasts, she seemed to be attacking with the most primitive brute force, but it was in fact not. Her hands were enveloped with a layer of red fire elemental energy, and each time she punched and attacked, she aimed at the vital point of the demonic beast. Each time a scorching palm wind blasted out, the blazing energy that landed on the demonic beast's vital point could directly injure its heart. A few punches could kill one demonic beast, while she took out the crystal core and tossed it into her interspatial ring. Elemental energy continued to be drained, but she didn't take pills to replenish. Instead, she directly grasped the crystal core and began to absorb and refine it. In this space, due to the special energy, other sword masters could directly absorb the power of the crystal core without using pills to remove the poison. But they needed the actual refining process, otherwise their body would explode. But Lu Muyan didn't need it. Her body refining skill had already entered the second layer, and her body was no less powerful than demonic beasts at peak phase Tier 5. Plus the effect of the sea of fog in her dantian. No matter how many demonic beast crystal cores she absorbed, she could refine it. I found the traces of the Tier 6 demonic beasts. You clean up the Tier 5 demonic beasts here, it'll go kill the few leaders. Mo Yan's voice entered Lu Mu Yan's sea of consciousness. When Bingji heard it, he also wanted to act. It was indeed really boring fighting with these Tier 5 demonic beasts. Owner, I'll follow up for a look. You both go. Remember to take it easy, don't kill too fast, otherwise this beast tide will recede. Lu Mu Yan bombarded the besieging demonic beasts while telepathically communicating. Mo Yan replied, then leapt off her shoulders and disappeared into the beast tide in an instant. Bingji spread his wings and flew in the direction where Mo Yan disappeared, vanishing in a while as well. Crack! Lu Mu Yan smashed the bones of a peak phase Tier 5 demonic beast. Her palm that was enveloped with fire elemental energy pierced through its chest, grabbed a round and fluorescent green crystal core, and tore it out. What attribute demonic beast? Lu Mu Yan murmured. This time, she didn't directly refine the crystal core, placing it away with the demonic beast corpse. Afterwards, she swept her gaze around. Then after finding a few of the same Tier 5 sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she used flash steps to maneuver around the surrounding demonic beasts and headed straight for those sweet-scented osmanthus beasts. Her movements are so fast. Many sword masters on the city wall were not only fighting to kill demonic beasts, but also focused partially on Lu Mu Yan. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Some people were waiting to see when she would become exhausted or become besieged and killed by demonic beasts. But now they actually witnessed that she didn't only not return to the city wall, but instead moved towards the center of the beast tide, her movements like ghosts. They couldn't help but be exceptionally shocked. Where did this woman come from? She wasn't on the list of talented people that they had to pay special attention to. Many people guessed that if she could come back safely tonight, she would definitely be a dark horse in this preliminary competition. The ranking of points in the Jade tablets kept changing, and the name Lu Mu Yan had skyrocketed from a ranking after 10,000 to now approaching 1,000. There are only 6 points for killing Tier 5 demonic beasts, but 10 points for killing peak phase Tier 5 demonic beasts. Seems like I have to find a way to individually search and make a move. Lu Mu Yan muttered to herself. The speed of her movement towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts was unabated, and everyone just saw a faint purple figure appearing and disappearing, before finally overwhelmed by the darkness and the beast tide. She's gone. Someone shouted subconsciously. I see her heading towards those dark green demonic beasts that look like brown bears. One of them said. There were some who also didn't like her showing off and said coldly, I think she's probably already buried in the belly of a demonic beast. How's that possible? Look, right now there's a name Lu Mu Yan on the Identity Jade tablet that keeps rising. You can tell it's a girl from first glance alone, so it should be her. Many people were in awe of Lu Mu Yan's act of rushing down the city wall and slaying among the demonic beasts. If it were them, they definitely wouldn't dare to do so. Lu Mu Bai and the others observed the changes of the point rankings in the Jade tablet. Seeing the name Lu Mu Yan still rising, they slowly breathed a sigh of relief. This little sister of yours is too frightening. Fu Chen stood beside Lu Mu Bai and sighed with mixed emotions. But really strong. That girl is getting wilder and wilder. Lu Mu Bai's eyes were filled with doting. As long as little sister was happy, and under the condition that she could guarantee her own safety, then he wouldn't restrain her. Yun Zmo slayed a demonic beast that had leapt up to the wall and said, You all are too doting on her, letting her do anything. Although Lu Mu Yan revealed her strong fighting power, but it made them nervous. While being proud of their companion, they also couldn't help but feel speechlessness at her actions. Qi Yixian's eyes darkened, looking at the faraway plain under the shroud of night. He could no longer find that splendid figure, and he suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. Was the distance between him and Lu Mu Yan already so big? No, he wouldn't give up. He must catch up to her footsteps and let her return to him again. As if being motivated, Qi Yixian jumped off the city wall, but he didn't go in deep. Using the obstruction of the black iron of the city wall, he bravely killed the demonic beasts who were roaring and wanted to overthrow the city. Seeing his flexible attacks, others also jumped off the city wall daringly and maneuvered among the demonic beasts, using the strength of the city wall to kill the demonic beasts. Their speed was indeed much faster than before. Lu Mu Bai and the others looked at each other, then followed, jumping off the city wall and quickly killed and harvested the Tier 5 demonic beasts. Not long after, there were more and more corpses of demonic beasts under the city wall, and the sword masters below the city wall also had the opportunity to collect high-level demonic beasts into their interspatial ring. Lu Muyin kept chasing and killing the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, and scooped out green crystal cores from their bodies one after another. There was a smile on her lips. Today's harvest sure was really good. At the same time, on a city in the east of the competition field stood a man whose face couldn't be seen clearly. The man stood proudly, exuding a coldness all over his body, forming an independent scene that no one dared to approach. He lifted the jade tablet in his hand and watched a name on it continue to leap, whispering, "Lu Muyen, this year's dark horse from a small kingdom." If someone was by his side, they would definitely have found that the jade tablet in his hand was dark purple. Translated product by May Arcome True, that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.